Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Yes.
Matt Murray.
Yes.
And James Farley.
Hello.
Hello. You alright, James? What's going on?
I got a cold and it's awful.
Oh, you sound even more miserable than usual.
Yeah, well, this is why. Like, I was thinking about not doing this, and then I just thought you're just going to give me a load of grief if I don't. So I thought
I was going to say, well, yeah. So we can't be mean.
There's no need to cry about it,
Dave.
James.
What? Sean, what's happening to you?
I'm just saying, he could have just binned this off this week. That's what I did when I was ill. Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, he could have done, to be fair.
Sean, if you do it, you don't get a load of abuse from David. If I do, I do. So it's
true.
like, you know.
That's true.
If I do. If I do, I do.
Yeah.
Probably the earliest we've come up with a podcast title.
Brilliant. I can start the
in
artwork
history.
now.
What was the, remember, it's coming up to the 7th of November, and that means it's not only my birthday, but it's also James Farley's birthday. And we all know what that means. James really wants you to wish him a happy birthday when you wish me a happy birthday, because he gets really upset when people lavish me with, what they call that? Congratulations? No, it's not that, is it? What is it?
There is a word, isn't there? And I've forgotten
Salutations?
it. Commiserations.
It's something like
It's
that.
because it's the same thing every year. What happens is everyone just goes, well done, Dave, happy birthday and all that. And then it's like, it's James's birthday as well. And it's like, that's weird, isn't it? And then that's it.
I mean, by the sounds of it, there's every chance James might not actually make it. So
Yeah. I know. Do you know what's brilliant as well? Because that's his first real moan of the evening, and it just sounds so pathetic. It's just really sad when I just did that. Right, should we get straight into it? Before we do feedback, let's get straight to our Patreon producers this month. What do we say?
Well, it's both, isn't it?
It is. They are Steve Garrett. He went full Nels. Alan M. Nash also went full Nels. Do you know who also went full Nels? It was Aaron Patrick. Simon Full Nelson. He's in the gang. And we've got a new full Nels member, Anthony Oakenson.
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 Good start,
Anthony
Dave.
Oakenson.
Hope you feel like your money's well spent, Anthony.
I'm in a right old state this evening, I ain't going to lie to you. But no, we really appreciate your support. And if you would like to go full Nels or support us in any way, then go to patreon.com/TCGS. We really appreciate it. And, if you're a bit tight on cash, that's cool too. Why not send us an iTunes review? We've not said that for a while. Pop on iTunes and give us a review. It's been a while since we've had one of those, so it'd be nice to see some new ones up there. Matt, let's get to feedback. What we got this week?
We've got Adam Capone starting us off. On the previous show, you discussed the delay of The Last of Us 2. When talking about the press release and how Neil Druckmann brought up the need to avoid crunch, followed by Dave singing a random song about Christmas crunch or something. Anyway, the actual words Neil used were, "This new release date allows us to finish everything to our level of satisfaction while also reducing stress on the team," to which you all respond a little cynically. "Thank you, I thought I was going mad. I've noticed this too. Ever since Red Dead 2 backlash from Dan Houser praising 100-hour work weeks, every game delay seems to point out that they are doing it to avoid crunch. I'm not one for 1 minute suggesting that these are lies. It's a bit sad and odd that we have to point this out. It's very similar to the Battlefront 2 backlash, where many spokespeople for game developers were suddenly keen to point out that their new game wasn't going to have loot boxes. The standard excuse used to be that the developer needed more time to make the game even bigger and better. The reality is that game development is hard. There are multiple experiments that don't work out or take longer to figure out than planned. It's difficult to perfectly plan a long project to finish on time, as developers like to make adjustments along the way, especially as new technologies become available or new trends in the industry make an element of the game suddenly feel dated. However, all that doesn't make for an easy to digest excuse, so probably better just to say that the game needs more time before it's ready. There's enough information for consumers at least.
Fair dues.
I will say this though, right? If it is like, if they have come up with a statement, "Hey, we're doing this to avoid crunch," and I mean, there's every chance that there could be some leaks from the studio saying no, they fucking didn't, and we've not heard any of that. So that's a risky. What I'm saying is that's a risky stance to take if you are not legitimately doing it. You know what I mean?
True, and obviously it is shitty of us to, because there will be instances where this is true and real, and we're here just going like, yeah, fucking whatever, mate, which should not be the correct response to someone actually doing this because it is the right thing to do. But it's just very difficult, especially in the world of AAA development, to imagine someone just being like, guys, I've spoke to the board, I've spoke to the shareholders, they've said just take it easy, we got 6 months, it's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But
you can't help us by raising an eyebrow. But we don't know what the reality is of the situation. But
it's just interesting. As Capone says, ever since there was a bit of a backlash about this whole thing, that suddenly that's the excuse that everyone's trotting out. Just feels a little bit cynical, maybe. But.
But he did clarify, and thank you, Adam. They didn't actually mention crunch. They just said about that they want to reduce stress on the team, which I guess is
relatively speaking,
and also finishing it to their level of satisfaction. So good.
Okay, fine.
Steve Garrett, hi guys. I'm listening to the news section of the latest pod, and I've had to jump on and put something out there before I finish listening to the rest of the show. That's always dangerous, actually, Steve, but. You did it right this time. James most definitely sounded derisive about the Mixer acquisitions. Not just not caring, but the best bit of James saying he just gets angry at streaming in general and doesn't care about streaming. Brilliant. Remind me to stop my Twitch subscriptions and subscription gifting then. Grumpy James is one of my favourite things about the show, but sometimes I find myself shaking my head listening. Perhaps you should consider James finishing the news section with the gaming equivalent of the stereotypical uplifting, fluffy cat story at the end of the broadcast. I would go a tier above full now, so if he had to deliver it with the same level of cheer and enthusiasm as a local US TV anchor. Love, Steve.
Your response, James?
Fair points. I mean, the thing is, these are fair points because I was derisive about the Mixer acquisitions. And
what are you talking about? You were telling me that you absolutely weren't, and I was shocking for pulling you up on that.
No. What it is, right, is, okay, it's not that I'm angry at streaming in general, really. It's just it's just celebrity streamers. They just annoy me. That's all it is. I don't understand it, and it's something that I just find irritating. That's what it is.
Your voice makes you sound like a really old man.
Celebrity streamers, so like a regular streamer's fine, but when they get a bit more popular, that's when you turn off.
It's once they got stupid names, Matt. That's what it is. Yeah. Sorry,
the names and the
Farley.
It's the names and the absolutely dizzying amounts of money involved.
Yes, just all that in it, and just the entourages and all that. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
The entourages?
They've all got their groups around them and all that. I don't know anything about this, Dave.
They got friends. That's what you said. They got friends.
But can we just stop talking about them and their friends? I don't know what's going on.
But when you're that successful, how do you know who your real friends are, mate?
Exactly. I mean, I'm questioning it every day now.
The amount of success we've enjoyed. I know you guys are my real friends because we're too low down on the ladder. It's fun.
Yeah, but let's not get silly names when we make it big because James will kick off.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right.
Imagine we reached a point where we had to get a branding team in, and we just like Jay Allard did James. We just reinvented
call
him.
Yourself like Mr. Boomstick or something like that. It's just ridiculous.
That is definitely your name now, James. Why would you say that? That's
brilliant, Mr. Boomstick. You changed.
James, Mr. Boomstick Farley.
There's one around there somewhere. There's got to be a Mr.
Yeah.
And
he's on Mr. Boomstick on Twitch. I have to find now.
Well, that's the.
I can't wait to see Mr. Boomstick's new series on Twitch. It's going to be great.
I can't wait for Mr. Boomstick to stream the latest David Cage game.
So James, there is a Mr. Boomstick on Twitch where he's only got 10 followers and hasn't streamed for 3 months. I reckon you could own that.
Yeah. That's yours now, James.
Great.
James Boomstick.
Twitch, not Mixed. Right,
yeah, definitely. Ricky Carver. I've been a loyal TCGS listener for years now, but there was a huge problem with the quality of your output, which is forcing me to reconsider my podcasting options. Oh no. I've noticed that for the past few weeks, pretty much since Dave came back, there's been an issue where you are talking all over each other in the audio. It happens about once per episode, and basically you will hear about 10 seconds of 3 to 4 people talking at the same time. It is a disgrace that I have to put up with this level of service in my free podcast content. I can no longer enjoy the podcast as I'm constantly on edge, wondering when it will happen again. I don't want to assign blame, but it must either be Matt or Dave's fault. I expect a full inquest into this on the next podcast, and the guilty party should issue a formal apology. Yours, Ricky.
I mean, I'm keeping well out of this.
Do you want me to go for this?
We all know.
Matt's making a joke. Look, Matt's making a joke. Is the obvious joke. Do you want me to? Because he's right. He's right, and I've noticed it as well. And I just have not decided whether it's a disrespect thing or a ego thing yet.
Wait, can it not just be a technical problem?
So I thought we'd already agreed it was a technical problem.
Okay.
Yeah, Discord's a big pile of shit recently.
Discord doesn't help. No, that's sure. But it's right. Should I explain? What's the job of a host? It's to keep the conversation moving, to move on when you need to move on, right?
Yeah.
So I've always done that as one of the main hosts. I sort of gauge when we should be moving on and try and keep the pace up. Mm-hmm. Recently, since coming back, I have noticed that when I have tried to do that, Matt raises his voice and speaks louder and just doesn't stop. And it's like, right, okay, so Matt either thinks that I don't have a good grasp on when to move the conversation forward, so that's the disrespect. Or the ego thing is, I simply have to get this point across and I will not be stopped until I'm heard. So it's one of the two, but I have noticed a lot happening. So what is it, Matt? I
mean, when you went here, it was just such a lovely free-phone conversation. All three of us are talking the same amount. It was brilliant. So I guess I'm still in that mode. So
Right. So you think you know better than I do, and you think that I'm doing a bad job of trying to move the show forward.
I think what Matt's trying to say is that it's easier to manage when there's fewer people, right?
Yeah. No, he's not trying to say that at all. And
I know he isn't,
not.
Dave. I'm trying to be helpful.
Sean's done it a few times, right? But I think that is more to do with either he hasn't heard me or he's just as bad as Matt.
It's just fucking rude.
Because he just carries on talking at his usual pace. James knows exactly what to do. He shuts the fuck up when I start, butting in to do, to move the show forward or whatever. So, James gets it. But Matt goes like this, right? He'll be talking. He'll be going, yeah, and I've been playing this game and I've been playing this game and it's really good. And I'm just like, okay, right. So he's getting pissed off that I'm trying to interrupt him to move the show forward. So at that, Matt, I don't know where Matt stands.
It's all fair that we get to make our own points, is it not?
No, Matt.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, fine.
No.
Is it fair or is it not fair that everyone gets to make their own points on the show?
Well, who cares about fair? We're trying to produce a decent podcast, and one of my jobs is to keep the conversation going and to move on when things are starting to either get stale or drag on.
Can we move on now?
Right?
In that case.
I mean, yes, James.
We should do. But James, do you know more than Dave, the host?
What?
Well, that's Dave's job to move things on, not yours.
See what I mean? So it is an ego thing. Yeah. It is an ego thing because Matt now thinks that he should be running the podcast as well. He thinks he should be producing the podcast from. Is that where your head's at, Matt?
I mean, probably if you want to make it a better show, but I'll leave it you to do it.
It's unbelievable. You've been podcasting for a few years, mate. Listen to the guy that's got the experience and the skill.
More experience doesn't necessarily mean better,
What do you mean?
Well, exactly as I said. Just to have more experience doesn't mean necessarily better than...
Okay, well, when you look at my experience and look at the shows that I've built up, and then you compare it to Interface, I think that is more evidence.
That was a show
that
was
I need to put forward.
It was
going places, all right.
It wasn't James. So just keep that in mind, and we'll see how it goes over the next. I just want to see if the listeners see where we go in the next few episodes. Let's have a little listen.
Well, that was uncomfortable. What else we got?
See, Matt, you're saying silent. This is. I
was waiting for you to move the show along. Forward. You said you as a host move the show along.
Look, I'll cut in when you're dragging on, but when it's when you clearly need to carry on with the show, then you're going to have to jump in because I can't spend the whole show going. And now, Matt, you talk. This is unbelievable.
Okay,
What's going on, Matt?
Oliver Sheeran emails in about Stadia. With the subject line, did we miss the point of Stadia?
I don't think we did. I think
the only one that's missed the point of Stadia is Matt. Because he's the one with the pre-order. What's the pre-order status, Matt?
Still, I'm very much a founder.
Well,
that's out in 2 weeks. Can you believe it?
I mean, how excited are you now? You must be like...
I'm not excited. I have literally no emotion about it, but I'm going to get it. But has anyone seen a single advert or anything about it?
Nope.
No.
I don't expect anything on TV, sure. But I don't know, anything...
But this isn't their proper launch, right? It's not their proper launch.
I read that. I heard that the other day. It's actually next year, the proper launch. This is the soft launch or whatever.
This is just the launch for mugs to buy it so that they can pay.
Founders, James. They're called Founders. It's the Founders edition, not the Mugs edition.
Just for people. It's the Mugs edition for people to beta test, but you pay to do it. Could you imagine if
they actually called it that?
Enough people like me will still buy it, so wouldn't really do much. Right, Oliver, reading Edge magazine's feature on Google Stadia this week, I think I finally got the point of the whole thing. As a PC gamer, it was interesting to hear them say that Stadia's specs equate to an NVIDIA RTX 2080 super graphics card and 16 gigs of RAM. Right now, I'm looking for a new laptop to play cross-platform and indie games. If I want to spec out a laptop at that level, I'm looking at the wrong side of £1,500, maybe more. And yet, come next year, Google will open up a free tier of Stadia, meaning I can have a platform to play indies and cross-platform games on for literally £0 per month that will be upgraded regularly. The only cost that will be the cost of the games. I don't care whether they're digital only or can't be traded in, because as a PC gamer, I'm already used to buying everything on Steam anyway, and who knows what will happen if they go under. Here's a TLDR. Stadia makes no sense until the free tier comes out, at which point it will replace my need for PC gaming hardware forever. Forget playing on your Pixel phones or replacing your console. Stadia works for those who can't be asked upgrading PC hardware and are happy gaming at a desk. Matt, cancel that bloody pre-order already, you absolute plonker. I was also PS. Forget installing drivers, forget compatibility issues, forget 130 gig downloads for Modern Warfare, forget day one patches. Plug me into Google server farm and harvest my data. Sean, on PPPS, Sean, as the only proper gamer on the show, does any of this change your opinion on Stadia as a prospect for next year?
I mean, we sort of talked about this a couple of months back, didn't we? And my stance is that I think a lot of PC players really like the tinkering and having a super quote-unquote rig.
Sick rig.
I think that's a big deal for a lot of PC players, and they like the flashy lights and the liquid cooling. And
but you're not one of those people. So the direction, the question was directed at you. So,
Sean,
do you see what you're saying? So if you wanted to play... All right, let's take that as the example. Cyberpunk, right? Mm-hmm. Let's take that as the absolute example. You haven't got... you could play it on PS4 Pro. Have you got a Pro?
I have, yeah.
Right, so you could play it on PS4 Pro, or you could play it at the highest graphics settings, 4K, all that stuff on your PC. Well, what are you likely to do?
But I suppose the argument is, what if my PC is also too shit to run it, right?
Exactly.
And then suddenly it's like, well, I either spend £500 on PC bits, or I just get it on Stadia, and that's that. Yeah, obviously that's tempting. We talked last week about what could be the one exclusive that really sold Stadia, and it's like, Christ, if they got Cyberpunk, because that's already becoming I've already seen people say was going to buy a new PC for Cyberpunk, but I'm just going to wait and see what Stadia's like now. So it's definitely a thing.
It's just weird that it's the fact that it's. I suppose it's the perception thing that it is still going to be full price. You know what I mean? It's not any cheaper than it would be.
And it's also the fact we don't know yet if this actually works is one thing. Also,
I'd be surprised if it didn't.
He's also saying you can play stuff for free, which is true, but only up to 1080p. So that's not going to be better than if you're playing it on PC hardware with 4K and all that kind of stuff, is it?
Yeah. No, but how much is it a month for the big stuff, for the good stuff?
I don't know, £9, £10?
But then there's also another thing.
Oh, that is expensive, actually.
Quite a lot for
There's also another thing here, though, that I'm thinking is the other thing that I thought PC gaming people loved doing was like modding and stuff. Yeah. And you can't do that with this.
Yeah,
they said they're looking into that, so it's happening.
But not only that, you can't really say that, PC people love modding. Yeah, but a lot of them don't. You know what I mean? It's not, you can't, just because there's a modding community on there.
Because I sort of exist in that sort of crossover space where I'm like, well, I like PC games, but only in so much as it basically behaves like a console when I need it to. I'm not interested in having to I the hardware side of things I quite like, but more in the sense of like getting away with doing things on the cheap. Same with my streaming setup in general and stuff. So I do get some enjoyment out of that, but I can't afford like a super ridiculous PC. So there is a temptation there with Stadia. It's just make a matter of whether or not it fucking works.
So I see what you're saying. I think that's a valid market there, but that doesn't really appeal to. The only person it might appeal to is Sean.
But then again, as we've said,
how it works.
Like what happened, when the next gen of consoles comes out and it's £500, and it's like, well, I could spend £500 or I could just not. If Stadia's a worthy solution. But again
there's no way.
It all depends on the games, doesn't it?
Console.
It depends on the games, doesn't it? It's like there's a reason why people are going to spend money to buy like PS5 or like the next Xbox or whatever, and it's because of the exclusive games that will be on those platforms that you won't be able to get on Stadia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Stadia Pro is going to be £9 a month. By the way,
that is quite a
pricey.
lot.
Like if you just want to do it for 1 month or whatever, you're paying for a full price for a game plus an extra tenner, and then you've got to finish within that month. Otherwise, you pay another tenner. It does. It is pretty pricey.
There's a really good interview actually on Tested. Tested's YouTube channel. Norman Chan from Tested talks to a couple of Stadia execs. It's really interesting actually. It's like the first time I've actually seen them guys be properly questioned, and talks about their desire for having things like mods and so on and so forth. It's really it's the best sort of Stadia thing I've seen actually, and it's just an interview for Tested, so I recommend that if anyone's vaguely interested.
Cool. Just prove my earlier point. Right, next question.
James Day James Swift Day. Ring Fit Adventure. The mini games are accessible from the main menu that are actually pretty good for pass and play. A high score chasing multiplayer. This is why I asked last week whether it did have multiplayer, because all the videos seemed like it was like a group of people in a same room playing it. And then he goes on to say it's surprising how much gameplay variety Nintendo has gotten out on the Ring-Con here. It makes me want a new WarioWare based around this thing. That's that. And obviously Matt Spink and a bunch of others said, is it really the best idea to have James saying how much he doesn't give a shit about streaming? But we definitely covered on that. It's I think Mr. Boomstick knows what's happening.
The thing, I don't really give a shit about the streaming scene, really, but I do enjoy streaming, so it's not like I'm totally writing the whole thing off.
It's like my relationship with coffee. I can't stand drinking it, but I really enjoy making them. Don't ask me why. Just there you go. That's me in streaming. Don't watch streams, but I love streaming.
Like if I watch Limmy stream, I watch you guys stream. That stuff's all fine. It's it's the more popular ones that I've failed to find one that I actually enjoy. If one comes along that sort of makes me laugh a lot, I mean,
I think that's what always gets me is so like Limmy and we mentioned like Paladin Amber before, like they do funny things and clips get shared around and I watch them. I'm like, that is funny. I should probably watch them at some point. But whenever when people mention Ninja, no one's ever sent me a funny Ninja clip.
No, but he doesn't seem like he's a funny person.
Okay.
So what's the appeal there then?
Because it doesn't have to be about being funny. It can just be like playing well, and
I guess,
enjoyment on that.
Maybe that's the difference. Is that that doesn't particularly.
I watch a bunch
me,
of others. They're not funny, but it's a good crowd or good.
That's totally the difference, Sean. It's that I don't really care to watch someone play a game really well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just not interesting,
unless it's a game I'm super interested in, and obviously I'll watch speedruns and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking like someone playing Call of Duty and getting kill streaks that I don't care about watching any of that.
Yep.
If anything, that just winds me up because I'm shit at it. All right, okay, cool.
That's it for feedback. It's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter if you want to tweet us some feedback, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
It's time for the news.
There's a lot of news this week, and I'm a bit worried because my voice is already a bit messed up. So, but I could
Brilliant.
do it.
Let's see how fucked up James's voice gets throughout this.
This is going to be brilliant. So anyway, okay, first news is that Blizzard's president has apologised for the Hong Kong incident. Now, I think what he means is the whole banning people, not the whole of the Hong Kong protest movement, but that's what it looked like from the headline. So what he did, this is a guy called, so his name's J. Alan Brack, and he addressed the crowd before the opening of BlizzCon. Do you want to hear what he said? Because I've got the quote here.
Yes, I did. Did everyone watch this?
I did actually.
No, I didn't know.
I watched it. I thought it was a relatively decent. We'll come to the apology in a sec. I thought it was a relatively decent apology, but the reaction to it was not good. You just had to look at comments underneath it. They say he didn't even apologise. He didn't even. And I thought, didn't he? Unless I've missed something here. I'm pretty sure he did. But go on, let's read out what he said, and then we could decide.
So he said, Blizzard had the opportunity to bring the world together in a tough Hearthstone esports moment about a month ago, and we did not. We moved too quickly in our decision making, and then to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you. We didn't live up to the highest standards that we really set for ourselves. I'm sorry, and I accept accountability.
That sounds like an apology to me.
It is, but I mean, I think the point people were making is that he's kind of made this about the Hearthstone esports thing rather than the whole situation as a whole.
Right? Yeah. It wasn't a Hearthstone situation. It was a political situation, and he's kind of dodged actually addressing that, hasn't he? So
no, I'm confused. How do you mean?
Well, the contentiousness of it was nothing to do with it being Hearthstone, was it? He didn't say anything shitty about Hearthstone. He didn't the Blitzstone, the guy who got banned. It was, the whole point was that it was politically sensitive, and this statement from J. Alan Brack is saying sorry, but not actually saying. He's still not actually giving any sort of opinion on what happened.
Yeah, it's not an apology. They're basically talking about their own speed of their own process, not actually for what the decision was.
What happened? Yeah,
they're not apologising for that. They're just saying, it was too quick or this and the other. No. But that's not an apology for what you actually did.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could continue. So anyway, because this goes on. So it says. So anyway. So apart from this apology, the bans for the two casters and the Hong Kong player aren't going to be overturned. And then he later on said, as you walk around this weekend, I hope it's clear how committed we are to everyone's right to express themselves in all kinds of ways in all kinds of places. So then PC Gamer was contacted by one of the casters who was banned, from this, who was really frustrated by this statement because he said expressing myself is exactly what I did during casting. And then he just said, why is Blizzard still banning me for 6 months? If he's going around saying, we want people to express themselves, why is he still being banned? But then what was quite interesting was that then Brack went back to PC Gamer and responded to this and explained what he meant. And what he said that Blizzard support free speech, but they want official broadcasters to only focus on the games. So he's like, you can say what you like in games or whatever, but for our official broadcasts, we don't want any politics or anything in it. Was the thing. So yeah, that was the response to that.
Huh.
Again, that goes back to the discussion we originally had when this news broke. It's whether political statements and political commentary should seep into sports, esports, and stuff like that. It's a confusing one, and if that's their stance is that we don't want our competitors and our broadcasters to make political comments, then they've got every right to do that, haven't they?
They have, but then one of the things that was dug up related to this was what Blizzard's China account said. So, okay.
This would be interesting, yeah.
So what happened here was PC Gamer also asked if NetEase, who were the Chinese partner, if they'd been involved in this at all. Mm-hmm. And then Brack said that, yeah, of course they had been involved. And he also gave the whole thing about partnerships and of how the fact, if you're a Western company and you want to work in China, you have to have a local partner. You're not allowed to just set up on your own. So NetEase was their partner. But then NetEase, tweeted, like, well, not tweeted, but like on Weibo, which is like Chinese version of Twitter, kind of. They tweeted this. It says, this was just after what had happened. They said, "We are very angered and disappointed at what happened at the event and do not condone it in any way. We also highly object the spreading of personal political beliefs in this manner. Effective immediately, we've banned the contestant from events and terminated work with the broadcasters. We will always respect and defend the pride of our country." So, I mean, that's in itself is also political. Like they're making a very clear political point there.
Yeah.
And
no, you're absolutely right.
So it doesn't mesh. I mean, what was quite interesting was he then said that Blizzard, though, like Blizzard in the US, hadn't, like, they weren't asked for comment on that before Blizzard China did that, and they said that if they'd have been asked, they wouldn't have approved it. But we'll never know, if that's true or not.
Yeah, and would they have listened if they'd have approved it or not? It's fucking weird, isn't it? Yeah. It's a real complicated situation. But no, maybe you're right. It was a shittier response than I first thought. But yeah, I mean, this shit has to be ironed out and fast. Like, there needs to be a standard for this sort of stuff and what's expected within esports. Otherwise, things are going to get very, very messy in the near future to quite simply a detriment to esports. Unless this stuff is sorted out and new standards are come into play, then it's going to be fucking all over the place, isn't it? On all sorts of esports in the near future. So it'd be interesting. I don't think it's the last we've heard of this sort of stuff, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely not. And I think, this could, given how many Western companies are taking like Chinese money and and wanting to engage with China and having to make compromises as a result, like this could just be the tip of the iceberg. But we'll see. Yep,
for sure. All right.
Okay. Next story is that Sony are shutting down the SingStar servers at the start of next year.
What? Oh, well, at least we'll get one good Christmas out of it, guys.
Yeah, but the games still work, right? But you can't download the stuff and you can't upload scores and stuff.
It's a bit weird because the offline features obviously will still be there, but you won't be able to buy new songs. But if you're a PS4 owner, you'll still be able to re-download, like purchase like stuff that you've already bought. But if you own but PS3 owners can't, which is odd. Like you're just done basically.
Well, strange.
Yeah. So you could.
I had a lot of good times on that karaoke video game. Obviously Rockstar come along and kind of killed it off a little bit. But I mean, even when Rockstar was out,
Rockstar.
Sorry,
you mean Rock Band?
Oh, Rock Band. Sorry, Rock Band. Yeah, they killed it off with Red Dead Redemption 2. No, Rock Band come along, sort of killed it a little bit, but then even then, I still had a lot of time for SingStar because it was just way more simple and the family knew that better. They weren't really interested in picking up plastic guitars. They'd rather just stick with the SingStar they knew and loved. So we still got a lot of time out of it. And what was it? The one on the PS3 that come out where you could then upload video clips. I remember. Do you remember that, Matt?
I stopped playing at that point. I mean, I loved it when SingStar Rocks was out, and that was like the pre-Rock Band for me. But I didn't really bother with the PS3 version. I think. Well, the one I know you did loads of videos, and they were great to watch.
Yeah, you do. They were just so funny. You'd upload clips of your videos and stuff. Like when you were singing, it would flash up if you had a PlayStation camera plugged in. It would flash up that it's recording you, and then at the end you can watch videos of it being recorded. And then there was this whole online community, so you could just go to this page, and it was a little bit like YouTube, and you could just thumbs up like people's videos and all sorts of stuff. And it just honestly, there were people that took that platform to another level. They turned it into music videos and stuff, and the stuff you find people upload on there was just absolutely incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's sad that SingStar's gone essentially, or it's dying, but at the same time I haven't played it for 6 or 7 years, so it's
fair enough.
It's not it's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, next story. Dave, the Chelsea game at the moment?
Go on.
It's 4-4, and Ajax are down to 9 men. It's insane.
Okay, interesting.
It was 4-1 a minute ago, and now it's 4-4. It's insane.
4-1 to who? Ajax?
It was, yeah. Now it's 4-4.
Yeah. Now it's 4-4.
Yeah, down to 9. It's insane.
How about you turn that telly off?
Well, it's Tuesday night. Anyway,
Go to Chelsea.
next story. PS4 sales have overtaken the Wii and the PS1. So they've now shipped 102.8 million consoles. So it's now second in the list of best-selling home consoles of all time.
That is fucking mental.
That is
isn't
actually insane.
Well, I knew it was doing well, like we all did, but that is... wait a minute.
What?
Read that again?
What do you want me to
I
read?
just had a thought. Read that again.
Okay, so the PS4 has now shipped 102.8 million units, making it second.
Right, okay, what PS4?
I don't know. Well, you mean whether it's
Are
like
they
the Pro
bundling
or
in the PS4 Pro with the PS4?
I have
Because
no
that
idea.
changes
Yeah.
things
But
slightly.
definitely, yeah.
Right, okay. All right.
But it means...
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It does
Don't
skew the
get me
figures a little
wrong.
bit, doesn't it?
It's
Yeah.
still incredible. But if you're comparing it to the Wii, then you'd instantly think, wow, the Wii was everywhere. But you've got to say that I'm pretty sure, not a decent percentage, but there's a fair few million units in that were upgrades from the PS4.
Yeah,
that's
like
probably
if there'd
true.
been a Wii 1.5 and you counted that all as one thing, that would probably then...
There was. It was called the Wii U. It didn't do too well.
But it also means that the top three consoles now are all PlayStation ones. It's like PS2,
Fair
PS4, and
dues.
PlayStation. And
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But there should be an asterisk next to the PS4 one.
Well-
Also includes the PS4 Pro.
it's also really unlikely that it's ever going to overtake the PS2 because it's 50 million units shy, and the PS5 is out soon, next year.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
If they made the Pro, what if they said earlier the Pros are 150 now?
Yeah, what if they called it the PS4 2 and then wrap that in with these figures? Oh no, they've announced that it's the PS5. Fuck. Yeah, well, that screwed that one. But it's not necessarily that that's the case, but I'm assuming that the PS4 Pro's been bundled in those figures, and it makes it no less impressive, man. Fucking over 100 million units of that console.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But when you're comparing it to the Wii, it's kind of because when I first heard that, I was like, oh my God, but the Wii was insane.
Yeah.
Everyone had one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of people we've got 4 people on this pod, which is a tiny percentage, I know, but we've all upgraded from we've all bought 2 of them, haven't we?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That says something.
What is interesting though,
That's
is
something
it's
weird.
just how this was supposed to be the generation which was going to be one of the last generations of consoles, and how it was all. Do you remember going into this?
I was thinking
That's
that
true, yeah.
just the other day, James. I was thinking that just the other day. Not necessarily the last generation of consoles, but I was thinking, do you remember just before this generation started, there was a big debate whether it would have physical media.
Yeah.
Will it have discs, or is it just going to be download only? That was a big conversation leading into this generation. We're now, 5 years, 6 years away from that, and we're expecting a new generation next year. If you had to put money on it, is it going to have physical media? Of course it fucking is. There's no way they're going to drop physical media. It's so weird that we're more confident about it this generation than we were last. It's crazy. But there you go.
Okay. Also, PlayStation now has hit 1 million subscribers. So this has been since the price cut, and they've started including games like God of War and GTA 5. They apparently sign-ups have increased in a big way. But the funny thing about that is, if you then look at that as a percentage of how many PS4 owners there are, it's still tiny, isn't it?
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how many subscribers Games with Gold over there. Not Games with Gold. Game Pass has got. Is that?
Well,
I wonder what the competition's like.
They also talked about. Sony also they said the impact on their results was really minimal, but they also said they've got 36.9 million PS Plus subscribers as well. So that's not half the user base, but it's still quite a lot of people.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Yeah. All right.
Okay, sorry.
He's not going to last to his birthday. How old are you, James?
Oh, no, that's it. He's dead.
Oh, no, he's gone.
Sorry, I had to mute it, and I couldn't get
That's
to
all
it in
right.
time.
That's all right. Don't apologise.
Right.
It's fine.
Anyway, sorry.
A weird show this week.
Oh, no,
Weird
I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done this. It's a mistake. Mario Kart Tour multiplayer is coming first for £5 a month subscribers. So this is coming in December, and it's going to be in beta for a while. But as I said, only for the gold members if you pay £5. So yeah.
I've now officially met people that rate it.
Really?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
They exist.
Yeah, a few people said over the weekend, they're sort of more casual gamers. They go, have you played the Mario Kart on the phone? It's fucking brilliant. And I was like, oh, shut the fuck up, don't get involved. I mean, you'd expect that. No one's complaining about that, right?
No, that's fine. I mean, it makes sense to give
like
perks to
right
people who are paying the pro subscription. Yeah, it makes total sense. And it is a much smaller pocket, a smaller amount of people to test it with. It makes perfect sense.
Yep,
it's still kind of shitty though, isn't it? I mean, it's like when the game first came out, everyone kind of assumed like multiplayer should have been there from the beginning. It's like one of the core things of Mario Kart, and then just like removing it and then just selling it to people that way. I mean, I'd rather
they didn't remove it. It just wasn't in this version.
It just wasn't there, was it? It's like, and then, I don't know.
But did they decide to not include it even though it was basically ready to go and then sell it later on?
Two things. The base game's free, right?
Yeah, I'd rather it wasn't.
I mean, I know you would, but it is. Right? Secondly, you're saying, it's a core to the Mario Kart experience, so it should be in this. But how much cool shit was left out of the Animal Crossing online game, mobile game?
Yeah, which was also bad.
Yeah, it was really terrible.
My point is that you can't go. I don't think this is something worth moaning about. Is what I'm saying. I don't see it as shitty at all. Really, it's just what they're doing. I never went into this Mario Kart game thinking this was going to be representative of the Mario Kart we know and love.
But isn't that what
I don't feel like
it to be though?
I don't. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but it isn't though, is it? I suppose. Yeah, you could be frustrated that it's not what you want it to be, but
I mean, there have been better racing games on mobile, and it's just a shame that it's not up there with some of the better ones for me.
What's very clear, Sean, is that when Nintendo announced their next mobile game, probably best not to give a shit.
Yeah.
until it comes out and someone goes, no, this is actually fucking excellent.
Yeah.
It's probably best to go into it going, this is going to be dung.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone did that,
leave it at that
pretty early on, didn't they? Like after, what was that one they released? The first thing they released, was it Miitomo?
Miitomo.
Yeah. I mean, that was bad.
Oh, yeah,
and then we had
Miitomo was a good laugh, man, for what it was.
People went in for that, People went in for that for like a couple of days, I think.
Yeah. Asking stupid questions and doing funny answers, and your little guy reading it out with a rubbish text-to-speech engine. It was good fun for, like Dave says, about 48 hours, and then it's...
and then you deleted it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Nintendo wants to bring cancelled 3DS games to Switch. So they're thinking of bringing back some cancelled games. These include, there was a game called Style Savvy. I've no idea what that was. Does anyone have any idea?
No idea whatsoever.
Okay. And there was also an unannounced...
Are these Nintendo made games?
Presumably, yeah. I mean, they do. I know that Nintendo do like the new style boutique and stuff like that, because like Rachel was really into that, and that's like their own that kind of stuff. But there was also like an unannounced Fire Emblem game as well that might have been a remake.
Okay.
And yeah, they were just... I mean, it was... Furukawa said the company wanted to make more 3DS franchises available on the Switch to sort of convey the appeal of the Lite. The idea that this is the new portable, basically.
I mean, this is weird, though, right? Like, we've got some games that we never finished because they weren't good enough, and now they are? What?
Well, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's because the 3DS was at the end of its life, wasn't it? It was like coming towards the end.
So they were just canned because they were... Okay. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Although
I think that Nintendo need to start pumping a few more games out for the Switch.
Yeah.
Themselves. You know what I mean? At the moment, we've got what we got for the rest of the year. We've got Pokemon, and is that it from Nintendo?
I don't know. I mean, we've just had Luigi's Mansion, which we'll talk about.
Yes,
but yeah, it's, so between now and Christmas, it's not chocker, is it?
No, and then you've got at the start of next year. We got Animal Crossing and what else? Nothing?
Question mark.
That's what I'm saying.
There will be more stuff, though, won't there? There's no way.
Then there will be more stuff, but it feels like the big hitters from Nintendo are already on the system.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of needs to. They need to do something. I feel, because I think the Switch has still got a fair few years legs in it. So
yeah,
before we even start considering new hardware from them.
I mean, I think the Switch is not even at halfway point yet. I'd say there's
No,
a
nor
lot.
do I. I'm with you.
Yeah, there's a lot to still come.
Yep. Totally.
Okay, and speaking of Luigi's Mansion 3, it's the biggest Switch launch of 2019 so far. It's like beat out like Link's Awakening and Mario Maker 2. Although this may be because it was on sale like 24 hours earlier than other games. I think because of Halloween.
Yeah, I read that. I think you've also got put. It is surprising, and maybe that's the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mario Maker 2, some people. I don't know. I didn't see as much buzz around that as I did Mario Maker 1, which is surprising because Mario Maker 1 was on the fucking Wii U. And then Link's Awakening, obviously, that is a remaster of a really old game being peddled out at full price. Now, obviously, but from everything I've heard, it's actually well worth playing. But what I'm saying is that is it up to against big hitters? Who cares? It's still, we will talk about Luigi's Mansion 3 and whether that is is worth its title for being the biggest Switch launch this year. Should we talk about that now? Should we get straight into what we've been playing because we're done with the news?
We're not done with the news. There's loads more stuff, but we could
okay.
bump it.
Let's go. No, it's fine. It's totally fine. Let's go back to the news.
Well, no, it's boring though, isn't it? What's left?
What is left?
Okay, we've got EA returning to Steam.
Okay.
Does anyone care about that?
I think it's pretty interesting.
No, only that it was evident that Anthem wasn't on the list of games that they were bringing to Steam.
Yeah.
And that was a bit awkward.
There was an Anthem story this week, but I left it out because I just thought I can't be bothered. To go through that again. It's
no, it was probably best we leave that now.
Yeah, and also EA had their financials and they've basically just talked about how they want to, as they say, double down on live services because their digital games are doing so well. And yeah, that's the other main story. So I was going to end on like a happy note, which is that the Japanese government. It's because of what that caller writer someone wrote about this. I'm sorry.
What is going on tonight? This is the weirdest show we've done for a long time. It's all over the place.
It is a bit. It's alright though. I like it.
This is as on the edge as you live, isn't it, Sean? Sorry. When the podcast goes a bit weird. Anyway, Sean, once we finish recording, Sean's going to sit back and smoke a cigarette. Go on, James.
The Japanese government have honoured Shigeru Miyamoto as a person of cultural merit.
Why are you crying? I'm not. Why are you crying? Are you just really emotional about it?
It is quite emotional, to be fair.
But no, it's nice news, though, isn't it? I guess.
It is news. It's one of those things that, reading it, I'm just like, well, was he not already? Like,
yeah, when is that? I mean, when you had Mario opening the Olympics for you, or during a handover of the Olympics, you might want to go, yeah, he is quite a cultural icon. Yeah. The guy that made him. It's, I mean, what a legend! Yeah, what a legend! I said, there's not many people that would. This is awful to say. There's not many people that would go that I would care about.
I was going to say, this is something I revisit in my head occasionally. Like, oh my god, what are we all going to do when Miyamoto dies?
I don't know. I don't know.
Fuck, man.
When that gets announced, it's like, fuck. That has a bigger input. Like,
asking me boss for the day off.
Sort of day off.
I can't.
Yeah,
not fit to be in work.
We both went there, but neither of us said it, did we? You all know what we're thinking, but neither of us wanted to say it. But yeah, no, he absolutely deserves it, doesn't he? I mean, fucking hell, he's the face of video games, in my opinion.
That's it.
Okay, speaking of Nintendo, loosely, let's get straight into Luigi's Mansion, James, because I can't wait to talk to you about this. So Luigi's Mansion 3 came out last Thursday. I wasn't going to buy it because Harry wanted it for Christmas, and I thought, well, we'll hold off. And Joe said, we've really got to get him that game for Christmas because it's like a big chunk of his budget for just a game that, he plays for a bit and then sort of moves on. And I was like, no, I'll buy it tomorrow then. She was like, what? I said that, well, I say buy it. I've got Nintendo games are worth gold, aren't they? Yeah. It's mental. New Super Mario U Deluxe, right? £32 trading at CEX.
Brilliant.
So it was like, yeah, we paid fuck all for that was a Wii U game. So we took that in, traded it in, got Luigi's Mansion. You've played it, James?
I have, yeah. I played.
But Sean and Matt, you haven't.
No.
Correct.
What do you think, James?
Well, you see, I wasn't even really looking forward to this before release. I mean, we played it at EGX, didn't we? And I thought it was all right, and I've kind of liked the first one, but it's totally won me over, and I think it's amazing. It's like
How far into it are you?
Okay, I'm about 8 hours or so in, and
yeah, but like what floor?
I can't remember which floor. I mean, I'm on the Egyptian themes floor.
Right, okay, don't say the themes. Don't say the themes.
Okay. It's like 10th floor or something like that. It's like
right. Okay, so you're like 2 floors ahead of me, I think.
Yeah.
I am in love with this game.
Yeah.
Like, usually people go and they play, like, when it comes to sort of B tier Nintendo titles, like I would say Luigi's Mansion was that, right? That's a fair thing to say. I mean,
Bit of a
I
side
really
show,
didn't
isn't
get
it?
on with
Yeah,
the second
it's
one.
like a
yeah. It's not the main event.
Yeah.
You get those comments like, it's really lovely. Oh, what a lovely, joyful experience this is. And it always rubs me up the wrong way because it's like, that sounds like an average game with some cute stuff overlaid to sort of plump it up a little bit. This is not that. This is just so fun to play. Like, it's so satisfying. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, there's a whole intro sequence that you play, and that's a rarity in a Nintendo game in itself. Like, you load up a Nintendo game, usually you get a cutscene with a little bit of story, and then you're straight into the game. Here, there's like a whole intro bit where you can go about doing stuff, and then, like, before it all kicks off. All of that stuff is fucking hilarious. I don't know about you, James, but the biggest standout thing in this game is the animation. Throughout everything you do, it just... You know how we say with Zelda Breath of the Wild that if I was to send you a screenshot, you'd think, what the fuck is this shit? Why is everyone saying this game's beautiful? And then you see it in motion and you're like, wow, that's why it's beautiful. Like, you're seeing everything moving. It's exactly the same with this. It looks sharper than Breath of the Wild because it's in enclosed spaces, so they can really hone down on the visual looks. And each level loads, it's not all one big open world, so that helps things. But everything moving together just feels fantastic, and how things react to everything you're doing, the way Luigi moves and walks and talks and reacts to things has had Harry and I belly laughing at times. I mean, nothing will be funnier in gaming than the way that Egad runs.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
With his hair as well. Like,
when you first meet up with him, and then he's following you about for a little bit. The way he tilts his head back with his mouth open as he runs is fucking hilarious. It's straight out hilarious.
It's just, it is like the amount of personality that has gone into, like, the animation. Like, it just looks... I mean, I do think this is probably maybe the best looking game I've seen on the Wii, on the Switch as well. It's just...
yeah, it's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. But it is also, yeah, like you said, it's also very funny, like, in places as well. And just, I've also had that thing whereby... Have you had... that? I mean, I don't get this very much in games anymore, but like, it's that I just want to keep going. Like, I don't want to stop, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to stop because it does that thing. So, if you played Luigi's Mansion before, a lot of it is that you're in a mansion and going from room to room, and in each room there's some sort of puzzle to solve. And then sometimes you have to go from one side of the mansion to bring something over to the other side, and blah, blah, blah. This... it sort of segregates it all into floors. So you're in a hotel this time, and each floor has a different theme. So there might be a garden theme or a cinema or something like that. And the themes make no sense to the context of this being a hotel. I mean, I've been up 9 floors and I've not seen any rooms other than the ones that you start in, like bedrooms or anything. Go on.
It feels more like a theme park, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it's totally a theme park. Like, the areas are so different to one another, and they're so ridiculous that you sort of how ridiculous the floors are is actually becomes a joke in itself. But it's not just that. It's when you said the level of love and detail that's been put into the animation, it's put into everything you do.
Yeah.
Like everything, everywhere. I don't know about you, but the first time I walk out from the lift into a floor, I'm holding down that Hoover button and just sucking everything up, seeing what I can interact with, seeing what wobbles, what, little secrets that I can find. Because there's secrets fucking everywhere, man. Early on in the game, I found one of those gems, those collectible gems, and it was like, this is your first gem. And I was like, okay, so I've got to find 5 gems across this hotel, obviously. But no, that's per floor. And the fact that I've only found 1 or 2, I felt that I've explored every single area, like every single room of each floor that I've been on. But I've only come away with about 2 or 3 gems per floor. So I'm kind of thinking, fucking hell, there must be so much, even now, that I'm missing, that I'm already thinking about when this is done, I'm going to try this and this and this and go through each floor again to try things out. It's just brilliant.
Well, and that's the thing.
It really, really is.
And that's the thing, and it's like the interacting with the world is just so nice. Like I hate using that word, but you know what I mean. Like like you said, like sucking everything up and then figuring out what you can interact with.
So satisfying, and, also, and it knows it as well.
Yeah, like also like the plunger thing as well. Like because you get quite a good sort of moveset, don't you? Like of different things you can do. Whereby, like from time to time, though, I often forget like things I can do, and then you're suddenly like, oh, I need to use this, to like.
You're talking about RL and
like
was it? No, R and L to make him explode, right?
There's things like that where you just you forget. Like actually, you can you can do this. Then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, I can do this, and this will get me through this bit. But it's like, I mean, I found also like the puzzles. I mean, it's a game that's basically around puzzles, isn't it? It's not really like the combat is okay and it works fine enough. But really, it's about sort of figuring out each floor.
But you say that, but right. But the combat for a game that focuses on the puzzle and the combat, certainly, as you say, takes a sort of backseat.
It's still fun though.
When you line up, when you're surrounded by about 5 or 6 ghosts, and you pick one of them up and slam them into all the others, that is fucking well satisfying. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, no, it is mainly about the puzzles themselves.
But also, like the puzzles I've found so far. I mean, I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through, and it's got that really, really nice balance of things not being always completely obvious, but also not irritating to the point of wanting to like look stuff up or whatever. And you do feel kind of like clever or whatever once you've figured something out. It's.
There was one puzzle that frustrated me for a while, but and when I found out the solution, I was kind of a bit. They could have made that a little bit more obvious.
Is this on the? Was this the film set?
Yeah. It's the one we were talking about recently. Yeah.
That one. Once you've got the first bit though, then it all makes sense.
Yeah. Then it just all goes forward from there. It's just working out that first little bit, but. Yeah, and it's the Luigi stuff is brilliant as well. I understand that Luigi was also in the second one. Is that true?
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
I think he was.
I didn't play a lot of the second one, but I don't remember him. No,
he wasn't in the stuff that I'd played, but I thought that was brought forward from the second one. Was the ghost dog?
Yeah, the ghost dog's been in it.
Yeah, because I was about to say, because when it starts, you start on a bus on the way on your holiday with Toad, Peach, and Mario, and like Luigi's sitting at the back of the bus, and then all of a sudden there's a ghost dog there, and I was like, why is no one going, what the fuck is a ghost dog doing it? But yeah, obviously it must be carrying on from the second one.
I'll tell you what, Dave, I had a moment the other day when I was picking up the children from school, and at school they always have like railings and stuff, and I was standing there, I just thought, Luigi could get through those.
Yeah, totally. Because it's brilliant. There's even sort of areas that Luigi's in, and that you think, oh, there's like a grate there, but clearly that's not part of the level, so that's just like wall decoration that probably they haven't thought about. But no, if Luigi, you try and get through it with Luigi, he walks through and there's a little hidden secret behind there, and you just think, fuck me, this is so good. Everywhere there's these little hidden secrets, whether it be secret ghosts or gems or booze, whatever. Like, there's just so much to do on each floor.
When you say booze, as in plural of boo, not you stashing like vodka around.
No, not booze. As in, like, there's not a little book on
I've just checked here. Luigi was actually in the 3DS version of Luigi's Mansion.
Yes,
okay.
The 3DS version of the original Luigi's Mansion, because they remade it, didn't they? So that's where they've added it from. But what I love about Luigi, other than the fact that it's a cool little mechanic that they've used really well within the game, especially with some of the puzzles, combining like boss battles and stuff like that. You use him in and all sorts of shit. It's just brilliant.
The boss battles are like really inventive as well, like, and just really fun to get through.
The one that on the level we were just talking about was insane.
Yeah.
Like Harry and I were both sitting there with our jaw on the floor, just eyes wide open, just like drooling because it was just so funny and looked incredible. But anyway, the thing that I love is when you're controlling Luigi just goes like floppy.
Yeah.
And the other way round, so when you're controlling Luigi goes floppy. But if certain things happen while you're in that sort of state, then they react in a funny way, don't they, Jake? It's like, so if you're Luigi and you pick up like something that you need, maybe a lift button or whatever, you see Luigi in the background sort of like slowly, like as if he's pissed, just raise his thumb.
Yeah.
Like, because he's still in this status of being knocked out, but he's reacting to something that's going on screen. First time I saw that, we laughed for ages. What's brilliant about this game is that each floor is really small, but it's just packed as full as it can be with either things to use your Hoover on, things to make you laugh, or a puzzle, or a little hidden secret. And to see each floor so dense with ideas, it's mind like
there is
it's
that.
Not mind blowing. No, it's not mind blowing. It's just incredibly fun to play every second you're playing it.
There is that, but then also I think the pacing is really good because I've had a couple of floors where it's been like, you have some floors which are really heavily like based on like exploration and puzzles and everything, but then later like a couple of the floors are more sort of combat focused instead. And it's really nice, actually, because you do get this sort of like, you get a bit of a break from thinking, okay, am I going to be spending like an hour or whatever exploring this place? I don't really feel like that. I've just done that for an hour. And then you get like more sort of combat instead, which is, mixes things up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I as I said, it's not going to be mind blowing if you're going into this thinking this is going to be an incredible new experience. If you play the Luigi's Mansion game, you kind of know what you're getting. Yeah. It's just how well they've nailed everything that game does, and how every second of it is fun to play. Like as you say, you unlock a new floor, you want to play that new floor. You don't want to turn it off at any point. We've had to be forced to turn it off, and we've got this stupid rule that I wish we never did now, where I'm playing it with Harry, and neither of us are allowed to play it without each other. So the amount of times I've been sitting at home in the evening, just thinking, all I want to do is load that fucking game up and play it again, but I can't until Harry wakes up in the morning. But yeah, no. That's a class.
It's a bit like with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know how that was like, not maybe like the ultimate version of Mario Kart, whatever, but it just nailed so much about Mario Kart and what was good about it. This feels the same, like in the sense that it's not like absolutely mind blowing, but it's just so well made and just so much fun to play.
Well, it's. I can't believe that we're 3 Luigi's Mansion games in, and it can feel so fresh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels so good to play, and it's packed with so many good ideas that you kind of think this felt like a concept game when it first came out, like a concept series that a one and done. Hey, we've got this neat idea for a game, and we'll do it, and then that'll be that. But they haven't. Like, it's like Jesus, like Toy Story 4. Like, why are they doing another one of these? Oh, that's why. Because it's fucking amazing. Sean, I don't know how Matt will react to it, to be quite honest with you, but I know Sean will love it.
Yeah, I've been really surprised, but just by quite how positive everyone's been about it. And as you say, it's a Nintendo game, and apparently it's only about 15 hours long, something like that.
Yeah, it's about 10 to 15, I think.
Yeah, so
it's going to be one of those games that I'm going to be devastated when it's over. Like, I am going to be absolutely gutted when it's over. I've been enjoying it so much.
I think, Sean, it's maybe partly because expectations were not massively high, like with this.
Yeah,
and it's ended up being so good. Like it's it's a shock. Like, I mean, as
but
I said,
it's sorry, go on.
This has really been my favourite of their releases this year of like Nintendo stuff. It's been better than anything else, I think.
Cool.
It's up there.
But as I say, so it's a full price game, but actually, if it's that short, you probably knock it out in a week and then get it traded in. If you basically cost you about
if you keep it for about 4 years, it'd still be worth just £10 less than what you paid for it. So I mean, if you've got a Switch and you're umming and ahhing about it, you should seriously give it a go. If you're not digging it by, say, the third or fourth floor, then chances are you might not dig it. But I mean, you know about pressing the D-pad yet, James?
No, what's this?
So this is great. So one of the things I was thinking when I was playing it was, as much as good as this is, I still miss, like, it doesn't do the thing where in Luigi's Mansion 1, Luigi would walk about humming to himself and calling out for Mario a lot. And it didn't do it. And it doesn't do the humming stuff, so I kind of miss that still. But if you press left or right on the D-pad, he does shout out for Mario.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Totally. I didn't know it either. Harry and I have just been passing the pad constantly. So if one of us has got an idea, we'll pass it to each other and all this sort of stuff. So I went to grab it off him and I accidentally hit the D-pad and he just went, Mario. And we both just pissed ourselves laughing, and then that was it. We were hammering that D-pad like over and over. It's so good. Really good. Although I did notice this, I don't know if you noticed this either. Mario speaks not a lot, but he speaks a fair amount in the opening of the game, right? How long do you reckon Charles Martinet's got doing that character? Because the aging is starting to come across in Mario's voice now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It was like, let's go. I was like, okay, yeah.
I was actually thinking,
maybe do another take.
I was actually thinking, like, they must have all this stuff on tape already. Like, why are they still asking him to do new stuff? It's like,
because he doesn't. Does he do Luigi's voice as well? So obviously, there's a fuck ton of lines that he's got.
Yeah, but he must have everything now. But they must have got like the whole like Mario's basic vocabulary.
But when he shows up at the door, are you going to be the guy that turns around and goes, "No, you've done everything.
We've got everything Charles. Now. We don't need you anymore.
We've got everything."
Yeah.
You said, but have you got me saying let's go? Yeah, we've definitely got that now. How about Wahoo? You've got plenty of Wahoos, Charles. Can you please leave the building?
We've got hundreds of them, like different versions, different games. You know, we can choose what we want.
But yeah, no. I mean, if you're interested in it, there must be a demo out, right? Have they put a demo out for this?
I think they might have done.
I don't think they have. No,
I thought there was.
They should totally put the EGX demo out because that's what sold me. Because as you know, I wasn't really interested in this. And I don't know why I needed to repeat that. I thought I fucked up my words. I hadn't. And until I played that EGX demo, and I was like, oh, this is actually really. This is a lot better than I thought it would be. And that convinced me to give it a go. So if they do bring a demo out, play that. And if you liked what you played in the demo, then you will love what's in the game. It's kind of essential. I think it might be essential, James.
I think it is. And just loved it.
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in this, but everyone's loving it so much. Maybe it'll just be a Christmas game I'd play.
Oh, what a game that'd be to play over Christmas.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Are you doing any travelling over Christmas, Matt?
No, they're coming to us this year.
But are you going to have time to just get on your Switch in handheld mode?
Yeah, I'll have time. But because obviously the next few weeks are like taken up by Death Stranding and then Jedi Fallen Order and Shenmue and stuff. So, I mean, I wasn't really interested, and I played the EGX and it felt a bit fiddly, but maybe that's just the setting I was playing it in. But
just got to get used to playing it because it does not play like a usual game like that. You know, it's all about rotation rather than that freedom of movement that you get with Mario games and stuff.
But everyone's had such glowing things to say about it. I'm still not interested, but I would like to play it to see what all the fuss is about. So maybe it's a Christmas game.
Christmas. Play it over Christmas. I don't know. I can't think of a better game to just sit down with over Christmas and hammer through. Not too long. Really fun to play. It's just perfect, man. Good game. Good game.
Really good game.
Anything else for us, James? What else have you been playing?
I played the Outer Worlds as well. But, I mean...
How are you getting on with that? Because that's on my list too.
It's slowed up a bit for me at the moment because I've just got to Monarch. Do you know there? Have you been there yet?
Yes. Well, no, I've heard stories of Monarch, but I've not been there yet. But John said exactly the same thing, that it starts to fall off a cliff a bit, but then gets really good again towards the end. So
okay, well, I hope that's the case. Because at the moment, it's just... I've found the environment to be a bit irritating because it's the first time where I
assume, based on what I've heard about it, there's lots of combat on that.
There's lots of combat. I also found the map system really odd as well, because, if you want to bring up the map, you have to, go into, your inventory, but then you have to, press right twice as well to get to the map. So
yes, that's annoying. Yeah.
What's annoying then is if you're, trying to navigate to somewhere, because the stuff on Monarch, you can't just go in a straight line to anywhere. You've got to go around, mountains and all sorts of stuff. So...
Does the nav point not help you with that?
No, because the nav point is pointing to where it is, but it doesn't take into the account the fact that you've got to go around a load of stuff to get to it. So it's quite easy to walk for a while and then realise that you're actually no closer. So then you bring up the map and then which takes quite a few button presses. You have a look and you're like, what am I facing?
Wait for it to load for ages.
Yeah. Then am I facing the right way? You start to walk and then you bring up the map again. It's like, no, I'm not facing the right way. I need to turn again. And it's just a bit annoying. And it's what I've found annoying is it's just that the mission. Do you remember? Groundbreaker, that stuff. Yeah, I loved all of that. I thought it was really interesting.
Oh god, it was so good.
Yeah, the mission
Groundbreaker is fantastic.
Whereas on Monarch, I've just found the pace has slowed, and the side missions that are on there, I haven't found that interesting either. And so I'm hoping it's going to pick up again, but yeah, I'm not enjoying it as much as I was at the moment. But yeah.
No, I mean, I've played a lot more of it. I'm still in love with it, but I'm not at the part where you're at. I said to you in the week that it just reminds me so much of Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
There's that feeling of building a crew, like you get in Mass Effect, and caring about each member of your crew and wanting to take them along.
That's the other problem I've had on Monarch as well, which you may find. Because I picked up a character there, and I'm not finding her terribly interesting. Is the thing, and I'm doing the side missions for that character, but I don't really care enough, and it just
surely you just. I mean, I had characters like that in Mass Effect. I just didn't take them anywhere or do any of their missions.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I still feel like I want to see what their story is. But then you find once you get into it and you've been playing it for quite a long time, then you begin to realise actually the story is not as interesting as I thought it was going to be, and you just feel like you've sunk a lot of time into something which isn't that great.
That's a shame, really, because I've been absolutely loving it. The atmosphere, the world. I've been enjoying the combat.
Mm-hmm.
There's pretty much everything about it I've been really getting into, but
because. That's the other thing, about the combat on Monarch. You were saying, was it John said that it's really combat heavy? And
no, I'm going by because as you're walking around Groundbreaker, they're going, "Oh, have you heard of Monarch? It's overrun by monsters."
Yeah,
and I was thinking, okay,
and that
sounds like a battle zone.
It's just running out of ammo constantly as well, which gets quite irritating.
I hate that.
And it's that's really quite annoying. That's one of the other main problems I've had on there. So, but I'm hoping once I've done this, I'll move off to another planet. It'll pick up again. So yeah, we'll see.
You rolling with my boy Felix?
Absolutely, every time.
God,
yeah.
It's that guy's good in a gun battle.
He is.
There ain't no doubt about that.
He has some good conversations as well. But yeah.
Anything else for us?
No, that's what I've had this week.
Okay, well, I'll tick off my list as well then. So the only other game I had on my list was Lonely Mountains Downhill.
Yeah.
Which is what Sean's been talking about. Matt, have you played this yet?
No, not yet, no.
I'm surprised, actually. I think you'd like this.
Yeah, I've had it downloaded. I just never got around to playing it this week.
There's not much more to say than what Sean said last week. It's very good. I mean, the feeling of control of that bike is fantastic, and that's what makes it so fun to play. As you said last week, the braking is what you're doing initially until you realise that actually just skidding seems to be the far better way of turning corners rather than whacking the brake on and stuff. I have got one minor issue with it. I haven't been getting into the score stuff, the leaderboard stuff.
Yeah.
Because so the way it works is that there's various different checkpoints down the mountain that you're going down, right? The path you're going down. When you get to the bottom, it gives you the time that it's taken for you to get from the start to the bottom. However, it doesn't include the runs where you crashed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
once you hit the checkpoint...
Yeah, whenever you go back to a checkpoint, it resets the timer to the point at which you pass the checkpoint, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. So I went to leaderboards, and it was like... It tells you how many times you crashed down the right-hand side, and then it tells you but that's meaningless. You don't have to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But it also tells you the time that you scored. And I was like 2 minutes 20, and I think you were like 2 minutes 10.
Right.
And then the top of my leaderboard was John, and it was like 1 minute 30 something. But we'd only crashed like 2 or 3 times, and he crashed like, I think it was like 27 times. And I was like...
So he's obviously he's trying...
He's just hammering it down the mountain as quick as he can, which I guess is what they want you to do. I just, it kind of takes that risk-reward out for me. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, well, I'll just keep going down this really hard place until I nail it.
Yeah.
And if you're persistent with it, then you might... I'm not saying that's what John did, but it certainly took that... I was thinking, well, I'm playing it wrong then. Because I am...
Yeah, because I suppose...
I'm taking the easier routes to avoid crashing at times, but there's no benefit in doing that whatsoever.
Yeah, you may as well just keep trying to do the hard stuff and fail.
Go down the hardest route every time.
Yeah, because I guess that, really high-level play, the argument is probably that, but if you crash, you're going back to the checkpoint, and then you're carrying on from a standstill rather than just bombing it through the checkpoint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
But obviously we're nowhere near there yet. So so to us, that's not really helpful, is it? So yeah, no, I see what you mean. That is, I don't really know what the answer is.
It's a weird decision to make. Yeah. The answer's already been fixed with trials.
How did trials do it?
Well, the timer just did not reset when you went back to a checkpoint.
Oh right, okay, so it just
the timer was from start to finish. Yeah. The punishment for crashing was that you had to go back to the checkpoint, and if you did it without crashing, then obviously your speed's going to be your time is going to be way quicker than most people. Yeah. So, kind of disappointed by that, because that is a side of the game that I was really looking forward to getting into, and it's kind of killed it for me. But other than that, I mean, it looks beautiful, as you say, very atmospheric, very calming to play. And it was another game that I was playing with Harry over the weekend, and
cool,
just absolutely cracking up at the crashes, and he loved playing it, but he liked going as fast as he could and then hammering the B button. You know what the B button does? So it makes your rider go floppy, and then
shit! I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like the cancel button to return back to the checkpoint, but obviously the cyclist just goes floppy on the thing, so he'll fly off a mountain and then hit B and just laugh as he sort of ragdolls off of the screen and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun to play, and I mean, we didn't pay a penny for it because it was on Game Pass, but it's a shame because that sort of competitive niggle in the back of my head that usually goes off with these sort of games didn't kick off this time, and it was simply because of the way it dealt with the time trials. So it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Should we go, Matt? You've been really quiet. What's up?
Nothing. I was just waiting for...
What
just
game
bored,
you got
mate. Just bored.
Just bored, yeah. But, I finished Disco Elysium this week. I think Sean did as well.
Yes.
Did it live up to the high expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was loving it before, and that continued to the end, really. I mean, I just played it until it's done. And I think when this game was announced, or when reviews started coming out, and we got code, I was like, 60-hour game. There's no chance of me playing a 60-hour game like now. I don't care how good this is, but I did manage to play like 52 hours.
I was going to say, Matt, because I finished it
in the end.
I finished it in about 30, and I don't feel like I skipped anything. So where have you pulled another 22 hours from?
But then on the subreddit, I saw someone saying, I finished this game in 20 hours. Have I played it wrong? And other people play it in 60. I don't know. I mean, maybe
it's weird, isn't it?
If you just somehow can get along the main path, I don't know. I mean,
I suppose. I mean, you're not the only one.
Are you saying that Sean just mainlined it?
No, because I bought it in 20 hours. And those posts also said, I didn't mainline it. I just played the game. Have I done it wrong? And whereas others, I mean, I think it was suggested it's like a 60-hour game. I don't know. I mean, I've
seen people say...
You're just a really, really slow reader.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was putting my finger beneath every word. It's like played to. No, I don't know. I mean,
you put your bookmarks sideways to take it line by line. That's what I used to do at school.
I mean,
Made it easier.
I did tons of quests. I mean, when you finished the game, Sean, like, how many did you have? Like, hardly any quests left, or loads of? What was your quest like?
I was going to say, so I didn't have many left. And I did. I mean, this is probably the only criticism I've got of the whole thing, is that the pacing sort of went off a bit towards the end. Like, because generally speaking, the way it works is like if you're struggling with a mainline quest, like there's a tough skill check that you're not good enough to pass or whatever. You sort of think like, right, well, I'll sack that off and I'll do some side stuff for a bit, get some experience points, level up, and then you can try the main stuff again. Whereas because those side quests were drying up towards the end, it did feel like a bit of a struggle, like just trying to find things to do to get more experience points and level my skills up. But I mean, other than that, like the ending absolutely floored me. I've seen people saying they were disappointed by it. Obviously, we're not going to go into
I've read
details.
a couple of those things, but
I can on the surface, I can see why. It's something I had to go away and think about for a bit. And I think I linked to you, Matt. There's a really good article
I haven't
about
read that
the ending.
Medium article yet.
It's just really smart. It's just a really good explanation of what this one person thinks the ending means and how it sort of fits in the pantheon of like detective fiction, which is something I know nothing about. So that was really interesting. I think this game's going to be talked about for a long time. It
was last week.
Woo.
Can I ask something? Because the impression I got last week was that it was kind of a choose your own adventure book, and you could die at any time. So when you were saying, "Oh yeah, I got to the end," I was kind of like, "Yeah," but I'm assuming that there's like a billion ends, and because you were talking like last week where I set my resistance or something too low, and it broke my.
I don't know. It's interesting. I've not looked at other endings. It sort of felt like the ending I got, like pretty much. It feels like pretty much everyone could have got more or less the same ending.
I think it funnels you towards. I also haven't checked on whether there are multiple, but I would imagine it all goes towards that same ending.
Yeah, I think there'll be nuances in certain bits of dialogue and certain things. Certainly.
So what happened when you died and you set the stats up wrong? So what happens there?
You just reload the save.
Yeah, you just load your last save and then you just don't attempt the thing that killed you. I later found out, because I mentioned the example of like your tie on the ceiling fan.
Yeah.
What is intended, because what seemed to happen to a lot of people is that's literally in the first 2 minutes of the game, and that seems to kill a lot of people. So I think that was put there as a sort of like, be fucking careful. This is the sort of stupid shit that can get you killed if you're not careful. So for most people, that just happened in the opening minutes. Right, no harm done. Now I know that is a potential risk. Whereas I dodged that. That never happened to me.
Yeah, same here.
Which is why I was like 3 hours in when like kicking a furnace killed me instead. So that's, I can sort of see that that's maybe what they intended, but obviously it doesn't necessarily work for all players, but whatever.
But when you say you reloaded your stat, like you had to rebuild your stats, right?
No, you just reload the previous save, yeah.
Yeah, but you were saying that, it was because I had my whatever set way too low.
Oh, my endurance, yeah.
Endurance, yeah. So when you reload your save, you can't just reset your endurance, can you?
Well, you just wait until you've got enough experience points to then level that particular stat.
Just don't do that same thing again.
The way it works is there's different types of skill checks. So like, when you're trying to do something, it'll come up with a skill check, and it tells you like what your percentage chance of pulling it off is based off how difficult it is and what your current skill is. But there's white checks and there's red checks. So red checks are like sort of story crucial moments that you can only attempt it once and then pass or fail, like the story moves on regardless. Whereas white checks, it's like you can have a go. If you fail it, you can come back later and try again, but only if either you've like done something in the story or you've increased the relevant stat.
Right.
So you can come back and reattempt some of these like later on, which is quite, you can open up your journal and it's like, here's all the available skill checks that you found and it highlights the ones that you can now reattempt as a result of.
Did you ever go back to do them? Because I did.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah,
I know I had that, but I must have opened that. I opened a menu when it had like notifications that I had checks to redo, but I never ever actioned any of them. I just didn't go back.
Yeah.
How did you get an extra 22 hours out of it?
I just walked around everywhere. I did a lot of walking and a lot of talking.
See, I mainly ran. I don't know if that makes.
Well, no, I
can't be 22 hours in it, but yeah.
22-hour difference.
Yeah. But
no, it's great because at the end of the first day, Kim, your partner, he was just like, "Why are you running everywhere? It's really weird."
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite cool. But absolutely phenomenal. Like I am wondering, Matt, if we should like pull some people together and do a spoiler cast at some point.
I would love to do that because there's so much to deconstruct. I think I've said on Twitter after I finished it. Like I've been thinking about it for a long time. There's lots to deconstruct. I'd love to see. I mean, like a no clip documentary or like some sort of post mortem about this game.
Yeah.
There must be lots of fascinating things about how the story came about, but also just what it says. It has some really emotional parts I messaged you about towards the end. And it's just a stunning story for a game that on first look, I don't play his games. I don't know what's happening. I never played a game like this. I haven't got time for a 60-hour game, but I totally fell in love with it, and I couldn't really stop playing until I finished it. So I'm really thankful I did play it, and I'm really happy that they've announced there's going to be console ports next year.
Yes.
So more people will get a chance to play it next year, and
I think definitely give this a go.
I think they've said. So it's just like vague comments in interviews, but yeah, there are like sequel or expansion plans as well. So
really?
Really excited.
I mean, I want so much more in this universe. There's so much more that could be done. You know, it could be like entirely new people. Or whatever. I want to see more in this universe. It's an oppressive, sort of dirty, grimy place, but I really fell in love with everything about it. Really.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I totally think you should do a spoiler cast, but when you say pull some people in, I want to be able to approve that.
You want to vet it, yeah. Okay.
Who are you thinking, Sean?
Well, I know Chris Spann really wants to do something.
No.
No. Okay, fine.
Next.
That's pretty much it. That's the list. No, I was thinking because I know Joe Scrabbles is a massive fan, but he's not finished it yet. So,
and he wouldn't appear on this.
No,
podcast.
Probably not. It's too good.
That.
It's too good for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never spoke to him, but it'd be great to get Simon Cardy in. And I mean, I can't remember who.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I can't remember who. Like GameSpot gave it a 10 this week as well, but I can't remember who wrote the review. It would be awesome. It was.
I remember the surname was Wild Goose.
No.
Stevie Wild Goose.
Silly surname.
Keep rolling these names out.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to consoles next year, definitely check it out. I mean, James especially, like it taps into a lot of things that I know are of interest to you. I think you'll get so much out of it. It's really
jokes
good.
aside, Sean, we should just do this as a separate podcast rather than one at the end of a normal show.
Oh yeah. That's
just single it out and just put it out as a separate podcast.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think we can definitely get enough out of it that it'd be worth doing.
You know the other games of this type that you mentioned last week, and I sort of forgotten. But are any of those on console? They're on Switch. Isn't one of them on Switch?
So Planescape Torment recently came to Switch. It's also on iPad.
But that's the one that's like 20 odd years old, right?
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, I'm about to revisit it for Kane and Rinse. I think I mentioned. So maybe let me do that, and I'll let you know if it's still worth.
Because I would like to see more. Certainly,
the writing in it has been a high watermark for a long time. But it's just whether or not the game itself holds up, I guess.
Cool.
But yeah, then there's also the sort of sequel, Torment Tides of Numenera, which that is on consoles. That's very good. So yeah.
Well, that's fun. Yeah, Matt, have you got anything else?
Done. I beat my first proper boss in Sekiro on the weekend, which is awesome. It's the Goyobu Niwai. It's like that guy on horseback or whatever he's riding.
He's notorious, isn't he? He's a fucker.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm under the impression that you've taken a long time to get to a boss. Do you know if that's right?
I did that one, and I didn't play it for even that long. I'm surprised.
I mean, I'm on my 5th stream, so I think I played for 16 hours. I mean, I'm doing other bits. Yeah, that's my first part. I've done like, the mini bosses leading up to it, but yeah, I did that, and then I did the flaming ball after that.
That one's quite
difficult.
Did
you cheese it?
No, I didn't know. What is the cheese for that?
There's a massive cheese. It's really funny because John was having a breakdown doing that boss. And he said, and then I watched a YouTube video of someone cheesing it, and I did it first time. And I went, was that the one where you sort of go up to a corner and you just do a wall jump over the ball constantly? And eventually you break him and then, break his stamina and then you take him down really easily. But it's really funny because... what do you call it? It's really funny because the guy who's demonstrating it, I think, might have. It was like the first time he'd tried that technique, so he might have been told about it and then tried it out. But he just thought it was hilarious that this boss that was giving him so much shit suddenly become, I guess, a video game glitch, something so trivial or whatever, and he was just like laughing throughout the whole thing. And John said, "Oh yeah, that was the video I watched." So it was, it was good.
Yeah, I get the impression there's a lot of cheeses in this game, but no, I did not cheese that boss. And the game continues to be absolutely excellent. It's just so good. When I killed that Ganubu in the battlefield, it's just the fighting model is so good where deflections feel as good as hits, and hits feel great. And you feel like you permanently on edge. You permanently got to be. You could just be on it permanently to make sure you're deflecting the right time, and then finding areas where we can get jabs in. And it's fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it so far.
Cool.
So yeah, I don't even know where I'm going next. I got to the next idol after getting that flaming ball, and now I'm pumped for Sunday stream. So yeah, it's excellent. I'm glad I got done my first boss because the mini bosses were good, but now I've done an actual proper boss, I can move on with the rest. And other than Sekiro, James and I finished Man of Medan. So Sean, what have you been playing?
You finished it?
That bad?
Was it really bad?
Oh, it's a terrible day.
You did the stream. I mean, it was hard to watch. Not for any fault of your own, but James was just constantly like, fuck this, which actually wasn't too far from my Shenmue 2 stream this week. But yeah, no, you really were not enjoying that game, were you, James?
It was just really boring. It was so boring. And there was nothing about it. The game had nothing about it at all that made it interesting, and the characters didn't care at all who lived, who died. It was just so boring. I mean,
what a shame.
I felt really grateful to the people that stuck with us watching that, and because it was dreadful. That was a really bad, really sad experience.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah.
All right. Sean?
So I got a new iPad because I've been umming and ahhing about this Apple Arcade business. Decided it was finally time to get involved. The main, so I've only got it this week. So the thing I've spent most time on was I played and finished Assemble with Care. The Us 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful game.
Yeah, really lovely. I mean, yeah, it's like, and such a nice showcase for right, I've just spent too much money on this new device. What's going to look nice on it? This was just absolutely perfect. Just the, beautiful visual style it's got. But the story, Matt, did you get anything from it? I felt like I could have just completely skipped it, to be honest.
I thought it was nice. I mean, I know what it's trying to do. It didn't really get me emotionally at all, really. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right. I know what it's trying to do, but it didn't do. It didn't do enough.
Fell a bit flat. I just really enjoyed tinkering with the thing. Maybe that says there's something wrong with me, but yeah, just really pleasant. Taking things apart, fixing them, putting bits back in, and doing up screws, and nice.
Yeah, very satisfying.
Yeah, it's the satisfaction, because obviously doing that in real life is satisfying, but it's also really stressful. Whereas this was just the satisfaction without the stress. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I've also played a bit of Sky, which
you tried that, okay?
Yeah, which is this is the that game company one. They of Flower and Journey fame, and yeah, so I tried to play this on my previous iPad, but it was a bit too old. It ran okay, but at this absolutely appalling resolution. So I just thought, I'm not really getting the most out of this. So I decided to save it. So yeah, I played a fair bit of that. It's looks incredible, right? And the soundtrack's great. But when you consider that game company were like proper indie darlings, like Flower was, I mean, okay, decent exclusives on the PS3 were pretty slim pickings, but that was one of them. Like, it was so unique and so unusual, and it looked absolutely stunning. It was a cool game to have if you had a PS3. And then, Journey likewise, like, it's one of those indie games that is so ubiquitous, like, it doesn't even... No one even sticks up for it because it's like, yeah, it won loads of awards. People are like, to the point that people are almost kind of sick of hearing about it, right? Because it's so good and everyone bangs on about it. Like, I really love it. So how on earth did we go from that to Sky, which is Journey again, but free to play?
Because free to play, Sean, that's why.
Like, it's the same game as Journey, pretty much. You're a little creature with a cloak, and you have, you can sort of flap it and have a limited sort of flight stroke gliding ability, and it's all just about exploring, lighting things up with a little candle, and you can sing as well, which sort of activates things, same as in Journey. There's other people roaming about that you can make friends with. Like, it is Journey, except every time you start it up, it's like, here's the current season. Do you want to buy the season pass? Do you want to buy some currency? And I'm just like it's not bad. It's not shit by any means. And like, you can pretty much, from what I can tell, from what I've played, you can pretty much ignore the free-to-play stuff. It just seems, from such a talented team, it just, like, on paper, it's just so low effort. Like, from this, team that's like, every game they've done has been radically different and talked about so much. And this came out, and, there's not been a huge amount of conversation around it, which I put down to the fact that at the moment it's still like Apple exclusive. It's coming to other devices, but a lot of people sort of tried it and went, I'll wait till it's on the PS4 and I can play with a controller or whatever.
Sure,
but it's just, I just don't get it. Why?
Do you think this would have been bigger if this had come out on Apple Arcade without any of the free-to-play stuff? Exactly,
yes. And that's what really stings, is that, because, Sky's been around for like a good few months now, but especially now that Apple Arcade has come in and sort of reminded everyone of the good old days of mobile games. Like, the free-to-play, like, the fact that Sky is just a game, basically a game you loved, but just with annoying free-to-play shit, just really stings. It's just...
Maybe, I mean, they just did things at the wrong time. It's like they clearly were like, we need to get on the free-to-play bandwagon because that's what everyone's doing now. And then it's like, well...
And I was actually, did you? Yeah. And when you consider, so, you can, make friends with people and you sort of hold hands and fly around together, and it's like, oh, that's really nice. To do that, you need this currency, which is like these candles that you collect, like, fire from candles, and then once you've collected enough, that's one candle, and then you can spend that on things. So to make friends with people costs that, and that's one of the, that's the currency that you can buy. And you're like, does that not just erode the point? Like, just the fact that it's like, oh, it's really cool, it's really nice, you can make friends, but you've either got to grind or pay up to do it. I guess that makes it feel even more cynical. Like, the fact that you're doing it that way, yeah. To sort of gate the sort of the nice bit of it behind a currency that you can pay for with real money. It's just weird. I'll probably carry on playing it because, as I say, like, it is beautiful to look at and it is nice just having a float around and like really beautiful cloud effects as well. There's like all these sort of billowing clouds everywhere. Like, it looks absolutely stunning. Obviously the soundtrack's great. Pretty sure it's Austin Wintory again, who can do no wrong, basically. It's just as I say, it's just the concept is just so weak. Why is it just one of their old games again, but with free-to-play stuff, when previously everything they've done has been so radically different to what they've done previously? And it's just weird letdown.
Why are you playing that anyway when you've got Apple Arcade?
Well, this is it. I've been persevering with it because I'm like, surely it'll get to like a good bit, and I'm at the moment I'm just like, actually, fuck it. I'd rather just.
I mean, you've not played NeoCab?
No, not yet. That's next on the list. Now that finished Assemble
You'd
the
love
Care.
that.
Yeah.
What, the golf?
I've got it.
You'd love that. Focus on those ones.
Yeah,
man.
Everyone's raving about Monomals at the moment.
Yes, I've literally just downloaded that just before we started recording. Because everyone's saying it's incredible. So I'm really excited to like properly dive into it. I mean, I've done the thing of like, right, great, I've got it now. I've got Apple Arcade. I'm going to download 30 games. And then you just stare at all these icons like, hang on, what am I doing here? This is.
Have you downloaded Manifold Garden yet?
Yes, I have.
I've got. There's so many I've got to play. Grindstone Pool, Rave Vault, Tangle Tower.
I played a little bit of Grindstone, but not enough to comment yet. But
man, Chen is still obsessed with that game. She went to bed at 2 a.m. the other day. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, she never does that, and she
pulling a Matt Murray.
Yeah, it's.
Glad I've got the iPad, but I'm more excited to delve into more of the Apple Arcade stuff. Really shouldn't have spent quite so long on Sky, but there you go. That's the other thing as well, is like, obviously, because this came out as like an app, not like Apple exclusive, but came to Apple devices first, and it was at one of the Apple keynotes, wasn't it? I think they showed it off. Jesus, so much better with a controller. Like, I really would not recommend playing this with a touchscreen. I've synced one of my PlayStation 4 controllers to it. So again, you're just like, should this have just been on the PlayStation 4 for 15 quid and just be done with it? But whatever.
It probably done a lot better because it sort of fell away. People was like, that they're doing a game, brilliant. And it's like, no. But if it wasn't free to play and it was on PS4,
exactly,
it would be talked about totally differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Last one. I finished FIFA 17, The Journey.
Yes, you did.
The other night. It took longer than I thought it was going to, but
3.5 hours stream, that last one.
Yeah, that went on until half past midnight. It was worth it though. It was good. It's weird. Like, I was saying that, that final scene, which is basically just like 3 minutes of the lads just like hoisting the cup up and everyone going, and I was like, it's so strange for me because I've got no context or no knowledge of like what a big deal this is, that I'm just like, we won the football competition, good for us.
The FA Cup though, Sean,
no, but that's it. That means nothing to me. That's the thing. Like,
I mean, Sean said, like, I presume at this point everyone knew the cup final was coming. I mean, like, because you'd won the semi, and that in May the FA Cup final happens.
No, but do you know, like, I was the week that you do the FA Cup final, I was expecting like weeks of like little cutscenes, like, fuck man, we've only got 3 weeks till the cup final, blah, blah, blah. And there was just nothing. And my point was that, like, is this because anyone who knows anything about football will just be like, well, this is...
knows that it's the most important football competition.
Yeah. And they know when the final's going to be because of what week it is. I don't
know. I think even, like, generally on like TV now, the coverage for the cup final has cut down. I mean, when I had, like, loads of cup finals recorded, for many, many years now. I'd stopped because, who records things these days? But at one point it was, like, all day it felt like coverage on the day of the final, the build-up. And now it feels like now it's like Sunday evenings, and it feels like it's lost a bit. But that's just as a football thing.
Sorry, Sunday evenings.
Well, no, it's on. It's last couple of days. Last couple of years has been the evening, isn't it? And sort of lost the whole like vibe.
I've never heard that. I thought it was like it's always afternoon.
5 o'clock. It moves to 5 o'clock a couple of times.
I meant 5 o'clock. Yeah. But it just feels like it lost it. But at one point it was like, hours, like 5+ hours of coverage on the day of the cup final. It was brilliant.
Basically, there's a narrative that's been floating about for years, Sean, that the FA Cup has lost its magic.
Right.
Absolute bollocks. Total fucking bollocks. The only way it's lost its magic slightly is because Premier League teams don't want to risk their players against lower league teams.
Right.
But then that brings up the magic that so many Premier League teams get fucked over by lower league teams now that it's just a wonderful competition. The FA Cup is just one of my favourite things. But what's been great, and we'll get to your overall views of the journey in a sec. But what's been great about watching your streams is that I realised last night there are so many football stories we can tell you now that will blow your mind because you understand it. Because there was a funny moment last night where Sean said, "I don't get it. I'm supposed to be playing away, but I'm playing in my home kit."
Yeah.
And people are like, well, yeah, you only really play in your away kit if there's a kit clash with your home kit. Yeah. And then someone went, oh, and there's a third kit. And they were like, and Sean was like, yeah, all right, I'm not believing that. You're winding me up too much. And I was like, no, there legitimately is. If your home kit is blue and your away kit's white and you're playing Brighton, who play in blue and white stripes, then you need a third kit to play against them. And then I went into, like, so Sean was kind of understanding the process of what kits you wear and when. And I was like, yeah, and there's been a number of instances where teams have turned up with the wrong colour kit, which means they have to play in the other team's away kit. Right? I've been at a game at Millwall where that's happened, and it is like watching Millwall versus Millwall, and it's fucking totally jarring, because obviously you see that kit so much throughout the year that you're just locked in. When you see other teams' kits, you only see them twice a year when you go to football regularly. So it's kind of like you don't really take notice of their kit. It's just a different colour to you, but you know your own kit and exactly what that looks like on those players. And then when you see another team wearing exactly that kit with the Millwall logo and like sponsor on it, it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's happened the other way around as well, where Millwall have played away and we've forgotten our kit and had to outfit Sheffield Wednesday. But I said that when it comes to kit, there's only one story in there, James.
Shoot.
What was what is the one football, like high profile football related story that you would tell Sean about football kits?
I've no idea. I don't know which one you mean.
Okay, fair enough. It's a hard question to off the bounce, but when I tell you, you'll kick yourself. Manchester United losing at half time wearing that grey kit.
Right. I don't remember that.
You don't?
Oh, what? Yeah, I
Are you
definitely
fucking
remember
kidding me, James?
I don't remember it. Which one was this?
Man United had a new, I think it was I don't know if it's the away kit or third kit, but this was, it was quite a while ago, but you would have definitely, if I sent you the kit, you'd recognise it. It was a grey kit that they started playing, they were losing, and then in the second half, they come out in a different kit. And then after the game, they explained that the players were complaining because they couldn't see each other on the pitch because of the kit.
Yeah,
you do remember that?
I do remember that now, yeah.
Just explaining that to Sean was just a delight. Because, again, you were half thinking, is he just winding me up? Like, is this bollocks? But at the same time, that sounds too insane.
Yeah.
You know, there's things like the beach ball Liverpool goal. There's so much stuff I want to talk to Sean about the crazy shit that's happening from the beach ball Liverpool goal, Sean.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
No.
Someone hit a beach ball onto the pitch just as someone was shooting, and the ball hit the beach ball and pinged it to the other side of the goal past the goalkeeper. There's so much weird shit in football now that I feel we can
send Sean
introduce you to.
That gif as well. You know, there's that guy who's like goes to clap his hands and then realises like his hands are all bandaged up. Have you seen that one?
Arsene Wenger trying to put his hands in the pockets. Anyway, Sean, seriously, a critical eye, because as an outsider watching you play this, it looked like you genuinely engaged with the story.
Yeah, totally. The point I was making about the FA Cup stuff is it's been interesting to me which bits of it I've engaged with and which I haven't really been able to. And it's not the game's fault. Like I say, that the FA Cup stuff is kind of lost on me. I get that it's a big deal, but not enough. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got enough context for it. But whereas,
so when James and I play those games, we know in our head, fuck, this is a semi-final FA Cup. This is like, Did you lose any game along the way?
Oh yeah, I lost a couple.
Okay, that's fine.
But usually when I tried to step it up to semi-pro, and then it was such a shame. So the stream before the last one, and I mentioned this on the stream, so anyone who's watched it, apologise for going over it again, but. So I was like, right, this is it. Let's step it up to semi-pro because this is getting ridiculous because I was just absolutely destroying everyone. And I had like 2 or 3 games where I was like, fuck, this is it. Like, I was... It's hard to explain. I mean, of course it's not to you guys because you play a lot of FIFA. You know when you've got this weird... I don't know, it's like a sort of sixth sense or just an ability to just kind of read what's going on without having to think about it as much. It's just sort of an instinctual... Yeah. And it was like I'd got that and I was like, fuck, this is it. This is brilliant. And it was still hard, but it was... I felt like I was really playing it properly and I was really trying. And it was working. Like, it was a struggle, but it was working. And then it was like halfway through that stream, I don't know if I was tired or what, but I fucking like just lost it again, and it was just like it was like I just stopped understanding everything again suddenly, and it's this weird sort of mercurial thing of like understanding it 1 minute and then just kind of losing the knack again, which was really frustrating. And then I just had a miserable like second half of the stream of just like losing basically.
That's FIFA.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is it. I was getting really pissed off, and everyone was like, "Mate, this is it. This is how you're supposed to react to FIFA."
yeah, totally.
So then for the last stream, I was like, "Let's just step it down to amateur again and get it done." But yeah, certainly when I move on to FIFA 18, I would like to like try and play it on semi-pro again. But we'll see.
Story though, the
story's good, man. Like it's like on paper, it's like basically nothing, right? Like, oh, your mate turns out to be an arsehole, and the guy you thought was an arsehole becomes your mate. Yeah.
Like, it's well
done enough.
Every dramatisation of football is, it probably feels worse for us because every dramatisation of football is exactly this story. Like, it's ridiculous. Even the Renford rejects. It's shocking.
The whole storyline of getting loaned out and stuff, like that's fascinating to me. Like that was a really interesting dynamic of this whole thing of like you feel rejected and unwanted, but it's just that it's not that. It's just that there's not quite room for you where you currently are, so they'd rather put you to use elsewhere. Because which is for everyone's benefit, really, but there's still a sense of rejection to it, and then the fact that so then you go down to the which one is it? Championship or Premiership? Championship. Thank you.
I should have let him guess. You should have let him commit.
I was going to say Championship. I wasn't sure. And it's kind of like, like now I'm just slumming it in the Championship instead. But again, then and then the making friends with Danny Williams, and it's sort of being like, this is actually like I'm being looked after here. Like there's nice people, and this is fine, and I'm actually just getting to play football, and like really that's what I should want. And then to the point that when you get summoned back to Hull City, it's like, I quite liked slumming it actually in the Championship. I'm sort of gutted to be going back again, and it's just it's quite nicely nuanced. I thought. I mean, obviously this is a thing that happens
the bit where he ignores his dad at the end. It was just like you were like, yes. I was like, it's got him.
Yeah, I mean that sort of came out of nowhere, right? And there's basically two mentions of him. Like he's a dick at the start, like, and then it's like later on, tried speaking to dad, can't get through to him. Yeah, well, he's an asshole. And then you try and text him once, and he's just replied saying, "Oh, I'm busy, son." But yeah, like I would have been really disappointed if if his dad had showed up finally, and he was like, "Oh, brilliant." Like the fact that he was like,
imagine if it was that. That was the story arc. Dad, thanks for coming. I love you.
Yeah, we've reconciled. Brilliant. So the fact that he's just like, nah, and not even in a hateful way, just like you missed your chance. Like, sorry, mate. That was quite nicely done. Like in terms of, I would have liked it if the decisions were like in any way meaningful. Like it's not Mass Effect, is it? No. It is just like, are you going to be sort of a bolshy arsehole or really boring or somewhere in between? Yeah.
I think that does change in the later ones.
Really? Okay, cool.
They become a bit more meaningful. But
I was going to say, James, is the emotional stuff like completely dropped in the later ones? Because I don't know how they could possibly carry that on.
No, it's still there, but it just changes the focus quite a bit, actually. And I think the best, I mean, the most, not the most recent one, but with FIFA 19 was probably the best of the Journey stories. It was, it was good. It was good. I liked it a lot.
Oh shit!
Yeah, particularly the way it ends. The way it ends is good. Yeah. But again, it's not really. I mean, for me, it wasn't really about Hunter. It's about the other characters around. Actually, more interesting, I thought. And
Danny Williams.
Yeah, exactly. He's great.
Cool. So what are you doing? You're done with this?
Yeah. So very ready for a break, but
understandable.
I think the plan is. I mean, Matt, am I allowed to discuss this now, or should we wait? I don't know what the.
You do what you want, yeah.
Okay, fine. So I needed a couple of weeks off anyway. The next 2 Tuesdays, childcare and life stuff. And then, so either late November, stroke early December, I'm going to do a series of Christmas streams, which is basically, so I think it's basically going to be under the Played by the Bell banner, but it's just going to be me playing a load of shit Christmas games and eating mince pies. I can't.
Are they going to be real Christmas games, or are they going to be games with snow
in them? I'm going to try and aim for real Christmas games.
Yeah, proper light. There's got to be Santa-based games out there and elf-based stuff. Really delve deep, like some old GBA elf game. It's got to be.
I'll try my best. I mean,
man.
if there's games that have like a Christmas event that triggers or whatever, then I reckon that might count. But,
fuck, man, I would fucking love to sit and watch you play Christmas Nights into Dreams, including the karaoke present thing.
Yeah, that might have to happen. What's Nights available now? It got like an HD re-release, didn't it?
Yeah, but Christmas Nights wouldn't have, would it?
No,
can you not
I don't
just?
think that did. I'm sure there'll be things you can find.
Yeah, there must be a way of doing it. Or just emulate it.
There must be a way of legitimately doing it. Sort that out, Sean. I'll watch that.
All right, cool. So I'm going to do that through December, and then I think in the new year, I'll crack on with FIFA 18. So yeah,
cool. And that's it. Is it? Everyone done?
It's it.
Let's do emails and tweets.
Woo! Right. If you want to email us, you can do so at podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Aaron Patrick has done that. Says, hi all, full Nels here. Great work with the live episode. For saying this whole project is your part-time hobby, very impressive in how professional you made the whole event. I mean, we didn't do most of the actual hard professional stuff. We just showed up.
It's true. It is true.
It's his question. As we're all adults with disposable income and now have a much more diverse opportunity in picking up a games console and a group of games, do you feel we have a problem? As kids, we picked a console for Christmas / birthday and played it to death, and now I'm worried it's almost an addiction. I'm the other Stadia pre-order in the UK. I have multiple Switches, an Xbox One X, PS4 Pro with PSVR, Apple Arcade on multiple devices, the Shadow service, that's the PC cloud streaming one, isn't it? And even though I have the latest iPhone Pro, I felt I had to pick up the Pixel 4 just for Stadia and Xbox Cloud Beta. To be clear, I'm in no way showing off with a list of hardware, as I do feel it's pretty embarrassing, especially given that with limited time, I've played about 5 games this year, if that. So, is it an actual addiction, and when does it stop? I generally feel like the games are not the draw anymore, it's generally the fear of missing out. Any views on the above would be really appreciated. New hardware on the horizon, which makes me feel anxious. Cheers all, Aaron.
As you were reading that, I was thinking, surely the definition is, if it's having a negative impact in your life, then you should stop, right? Yeah. But I don't think that is the definition, is it? Like, that's not... You could be addicted to something without it having a negative impact in your life, right?
I mean, yeah. If he can comfortably afford all that stuff and it's not a problem, then it's not a problem, I guess. If he's feeling bad,
but it could be a problem because he's needlessly spending money. Like,
no, I was saying, but if he can comfortably afford it, then that's his call, I guess. If he's feeling shit about buying the stuff and then not using it, then yeah, maybe start choosing not to buy things going forward if you don't need them.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying, isn't it? He's like, he can't choose not to buy it. That's the fear that he's falling into some sort of addiction here. Yeah. It's hard to judge, isn't it? Obviously, it's a very personal thing to address those sort of issues. Yeah, if you are being serious, and the email sounded serious to me. So
everyone's situation's different. At the end of the day, because I think we all go through phases, don't we, of having like a different main console. Like if you'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd be like, Switch is the best console. It's the only thing I need for the rest of my life. Aside from the odd session on Ring Fit Adventure, I haven't really touched my Switch in weeks at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not Switch hasn't done anything wrong. It's just what I happen to be playing at the moment. I get and you do fall into a bit of a cycle of like, when you like, right, brilliant, kids are in bed, everything, like housework's done. Which controller do I pick up? And you do fall into a bit of a habit.
Yep.
So I do tend to have like times when certainly, even since I got the Xbox, it's not had a huge amount of use. But its time will come. Like I've got Indivisible on it, and I really need to play that. So yeah, there are times where things don't get used, and that's okay. I think as long as you're maintaining some sort of cycle. And as long as you feel you're getting your money's worth out of them. But if you're not, then yeah, maybe slow down. I don't know.
Matt, James?
I agree. I mean, I see. I try and keep to just like 3 basically most of the time now, because I just feel otherwise it gets a bit out of hand, doesn't it? Like what you're going to choose to play on or whatever. But yeah, but I understand, because there is always that feeling you don't want to miss out on stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely. That is powerful, especially like obviously doing the show is one thing, but even if you've just got a lot of mates who play games and you know they're going to be talking about these things, like, you know, a lot, like so many people saying about Death Stranding, that like the amount of people I've seen saying like, I don't even think I want to play it, but I just know everyone's going to be talking about it, and it's going to be fun to be part of that conversation in and of itself, like even if the game is shit. Like I've done it with like when the original Destiny came out, because we played the beta and everyone was a bit like, there's something here, but I'm really not sure about it. And and I was like, I do just want to be there day one. Same as, you know, like with Matt with the Stadia as well. Like it's just
Matt with everything.
It's the excitement of being part of that first wave and trying to like, fuck, is this good? I don't know. Like that conversation can be enjoyable. But I don't know.
Matt, anything?
Yeah, definitely. Like, but being part of a conversation where like there's nothing beats the first week of a game. We like multiplayer. I mean, often multiplayer games in this example, but when you're all trying to work out, what does this do? Have you done that? Oh, you know, there's nothing really like that, because if and for games where I've waited maybe months or years down the line, there's already such an understanding of what their game is, all the systems. You just hear it through podcasts and this and tweets and stuff. And like that first week of a new game coming out or a new console, half the fun is the game, but the other half is just being there day one to learn.
Yeah,
and you're learning at the same time. I just love that feeling. It's just like, it's just a great feeling. I mean,
I wish I didn't have that though. Like, because you'd save so much money.
Yeah. But also you could do loads of things and not have any money. But like, you know, you could die tomorrow. Like, you might as well just enjoy your life while you can. Like, I could not have any consoles, but then I'll be bored. So, you know, I mean, obviously, if we weren't doing this podcast, then I would definitely be. I wouldn't be on the treadmill as much. I'll probably still be on it. But obviously, there's a need for doing this sort of stuff, that you need to be at day one, and I absolutely want to be there day one, so that doesn't really change anything. But yeah, I mean, I love that, but as this email says to me, if it's going to be a negative thing, then you need to have a look at it. And I know loads of people who I've seen over the years say, you know, I've limited myself to like one game a month, or I don't buy anything until I sold the previous one, or not until I finished it, and I'm far happier now being off the treadmill and, you know, playing at my own pace rather than the pace dictated by release schedules or what everyone on Twitter is talking about. So just do what makes you happy, really. I mean, if in this case, if you've got the money and it's not hurting anyone or yourself and you're happy, then I don't think it has to be a negative connotation, but not everyone is in that situation. But I love being a day one or death, basically.
I mean, if you've got all the hardware and you're not using it and you feel bad about it, there's charities that'll happily take it off you. But yeah, sorry, James, are you going to say something?
No, just Google Stadia, isn't it?
Right, crack on. John English, who must have been very upset when that Rowan Atkinson film came out.
Delighted. Maybe he's a massive fan. She'll never think about that.
Probably based on him.
Maybe he had a different name before that film come out.
It's
and
Steve Welsh.
Legally.
It says, "Hi, TCGS crew. I've been thinking about something over the year as I listened to the show. Came on as a listener about 18 months ago and listened to a lot of the back catalogue as I waited for new episodes. I'd always think, wow, I can't wait till the guys are talking about the games that come out as I'm playing them. But this hardly ever happened. At first I was a bit disappointed, but obviously over time came to realise how many games there were out there, and that of course not everything is for everyone. Which brings me to my discussion point. I just realised that some of my favourite games this past year have been ones that have been marred in the main by criticism. But that I found so rewarding and fun that I've poured at least 100 hours a piece into. The most surprising might be Metal Gear Survive, which has a very solid crafting system and one of the best base defense multiplayer modes I've ever played. Other notable mentions are Battlefield 5 and The Division 2. All of these good experiences come off the back of playing with 3 other mates and just having a ball together, which as a dad of a 4 and 1 year old, is pretty much my main way of hanging out with. Hang on a minute, did someone just edit this? I can see a cursor. Farley, did you change this?
James?
Has he died?
He's on mute. James, you're on mute.
James, you're on mute.
Shit, I was coughing again. Yeah, no, I just added my answer into it. I've not removed anything.
Oh, right.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah, because I would have just read that out. Right.
That's what I was hoping you were going to do,
just
Sean.
added your answer into it.
Well, I was hoping Sean was going to read it out, but he didn't. So
Yeah,
you've noticed.
sorry, caught it.
Can we remove his rights?
Just change him as a
This
read
is getting
only.
beyond a joke now.
So he said, which, as a dad of a 4 and 1 year old, is pretty much my main way of hanging out with friends. Anyway, I wondered if there are any games that you guys played the shit out of, but were considered bad. And then James has written Anthem.
He didn't play the shit out of it, though, did he?
No,
Also, he didn't
a
think it was
bit.
bad. He said it wasn't that. It was okay.
Yeah.
So
It's true. He quite enjoyed that, didn't he?
It's all right, yeah.
Games are widely considered to be shit that we liked. I've definitely mentioned this before. Too Human was a big one for me. But again, it's that co-op thing. Anything's good in co-op. That's and that's fine.
I've mentioned this before as well, but when iOS FIFA was out, I spent so much time on that. Like, I mean, you've done one season in the Journey.
Yeah.
I think. So, I mean, this was when Harry was born. I was playing it a lot. So that was nearly 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, up to 2025 in that game, where I just played season after season after season, buying and selling players. I was way addicted. You remember that, James?
Yeah. I mean, I've been the same with that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It was almost. I almost offended you by playing that game. You used to get really angry at me for putting that many hours into that game, and I knew it was shit. I used to say to you, I know the controls are shit, but it adds to the randomness of football. Yeah. Anything can happen at any time. So that's my one, definitely. Matt?
I mean, I guess the the original Destiny, when I wouldn't say it was shit, but
No way, that was never considered shit.
No, not shit, but there were major issues that I was just pushing through.
I mean, that first year, Jesus.
I mean,
why did we?
I mentioned before, I was like stuck on the same level for 6 weeks because I was waiting for one particular chest piece. It's like, I mean, obviously that wouldn't fly these days. That sort of stuff would get patched immediately, straight out of it. But I was obsessed with that game. But I wasn't quite bad. But as I've also touched on in the past, I don't really play bad games. So I don't have many examples for this. But I've certainly stuck with games. Well, I enjoyed Detroit.
Yeah, it was a pile of wank. You say that, right? You say, Destiny, how did we put up with that shit? But it's obviously a lot better now. Matt was addicted to it when it was shit, and he's not playing it now. So,
as far as Matt's concerned, they've fucking broken it. That's the
it's never. I want to wait 6 weeks for one item to level up. It's never been the same since then.
Right. Roger says, evening chaps, thanks for all the great content. You guys are going from strength to strength. Thank you. Quick question, inspired by talk of Commodore 64 and the Spectrum on Sean's stream a couple of weeks ago. If you were stranded on a desert island and you can only take one system with you, and it would be as it was when you owned it, which would you take? For me, I would take the PlayStation 1 just to recreate seeing the T-Rex in Tomb Raider for the first time and nearly soiling myself. Anyway, over to you and FIFA 17 forever. I mean, that's a weird answer, isn't it? PS1 just to see one bit? If you're stranded on a desert island, you can only take one system with you. You want to take one console just to do one bit in one game?
Yeah, it'd be pretty boring 5 minutes later.
Yeah, he's like, well, that was a great bet. What am I going to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah. For me,
so this is just the game on the desert island thing?
This is just the desert island console. Yeah.
Fuck.
So take a Saturn for me.
Again, it goes to that. Are we allowed the internet?
Yeah, that's always the answer, isn't it? Sorry, that's always the question. Even.
Otherwise, it'd be Xbox One X. Job done.
See, for me, it'd either be a Switch, because I can play like Civilization and stuff on that, and that would last me for a very long time.
That's true.
Or PlayStation 4, so I can play all my Yakuza games, like again.
Plus, with the Switch, you can play it on the telly, in your cave, and also when you're out foraging for mollusks.
Yeah.
So
low power requirements as well.
Exactly.
So
it's efficient.
That battery ain't gonna last.
I mean,
long,
yeah,
is
like the boring answer is, Xbox One X because I can play all the backwards compatible stuff and then modern stuff. But no, if I think about a console, and particularly that line that Raji mentioned about it would be as you owned it. My first choice is Sega Saturn. Thinking like a Sega, all the racing games.
Wow.
Like House of Dead. I can just keep playing those racing games. I mean, forever and ever and ever. Trying to beat my times.
Yeah.
If I think about a console that I loved back in the day, then I'll choose that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's boring it's easy but obvious to choose our PS4 Xbox because they got so many games and backwards compatibility. But
so instead, I'm going to just choose a shit one, and just to be different.
Well, if we're going by those rules, Matt, then mine would probably be the N64. Just playing. You've got a decent football game in ISS 98. You got WCW versus NWO Revenge, No Mercy, all that sort of stuff. GoldenEye, Mario 64, Mario Kart 64. I mean, it's going to be the N64.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, if you like someone that swims over to your island, you got co-op for GoldenEye and brilliant.
Sweet. Yeah, as long as they don't know facility and all the spawn points and get to the proximity.
As long as they don't swim over a third-party controller. If they do, they can have that themselves.
Exactly, and as long as they don't pick odd job, we're all good.
Or Natalia.
Why? Why Natalia?
No, I mean Natalia's fine, but I couldn't play that game without. Well, I had to say Friar Tuck and Natalia a certain way, and it had to be Natalia and Friar Tuck. I don't know. I couldn't say those character names without saying it in those ways.
Okay.
Friar
or
Duck.
Jaws was the other one that was off limits, wasn't it?
Yeah, too big, baby.
Couldn't be Jaws. Go on.
That's it for emails.
Let's go on to tweets.
One.
Yeah, my time traveling dog at Greg_Shepherd. If James had to have a Yakuza style full back tattoo, what would it be?
And we've already done this, haven't we? This is
but
there's only one. Yeah,
not the dragons. I've added that, not the dragons.
Okay.
Not the tracker, James.
I've no idea. What would you suggest?
Us or our faces.
Okay.
Couldn't it just be a big full tattoo of Kazuma Kiryu winking and a little speech bubble just saying "Go on, son."
Yeah, that.
So if this is essentially what if we were on that, what just to two of us? You've heard about this, right?
Wait,
Sean?
what? Sorry, you cut out a bit then.
I said this is like us all going on just to two of us.
Oh no, I don't know what this is. Sorry.
So this is a reality TV show where two friends go and give each other tattoos, but they're not allowed to see what the tattoo is until it's revealed at the end. And some of them are just unbelievable what they do to each other.
To be fair.
I mean, there's part of me that's thinking there's no way this is legit.
Yeah.
One of them was the friend got himself tattooed on him. He got himself naked, tattooed on his belly, where he was on all fours looking back, and the guy's belly button was his bumhole.
Love it. Fuck.
For life.
That's great.
Yep, that's not going anywhere. That's
There was one guy had a birthmark surgically removed because he was so embarrassed by it. It was on his bum. So his friend got that exact birthmark tattooed back onto him. It's horrendous. It's a horrendous program.
What a potentially fun concepts just ruined by people just being horrible.
So what are we going to do to James is what I'm saying. What are we going to get done?
I want in sort of gang style sort of font around his belly button just saying in the beginning.
That'd be good. That would be good.
Something in Chinese lettering that makes no sense. Because I know that would irritate him the most.
It would actually.
Just I want in the beginning in Chinese lettering.
But it doesn't quite translate to in the beginning.
Yeah.
It translates to something else. Okay, probably next question now.
Yeah. Rafi plays. If you could turn any TV series into a game, how would it play? I would really love a 4-player Red Dwarf game that uses text and objects in a point and style to create jokes and deliver punchlines at the end of each episode. Each player would be rated on comedic delivery.
can we have a Bing game, but where you don't play as Bing? Right, for those who aren't parents,
Oh, God,
this is a TV show where there's a rabbit called Bing, and he's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair. He's a child, right? He's obviously supposed to be like a 4-year-old, and every episode he gets told not to do a thing, and then he does the thing and gets upset because it turned out there were bad consequences for doing the thing he was told not to do. But
he's done some horrific stuff as well for those that haven't seen
the
it.
fucking butterfly episode.
Crushed a butterfly.
Jesus Christ.
Stole from a shop.
Yep. Did you see the gambling one? Like the gambling thing? There was
the gacha machine.
Oh yeah. That's right. He went into he went into Ladbrokes, didn't he? And he spent he spent all of Flop's money.
The thing is,
on betting on Palace.
The gacha machine one's so fucked up because they essentially explained the thrill of gambling to children.
Yeah.
Because they're like, so he doesn't get the toy he wants, and they're like, I can't remember how they phrase it, but it's basically like, oh yeah, but the whole point is that you don't always get the one you want, so that it's more exciting when you do. It's like fucking hell.
So I was watching that with Rachel, and I just said, like, imagine if he doesn't get what he wants, goes mental, smashes the shop up, and then wets himself. She thought that was hilarious, and
Flop would go, oh, it's such a Bing thing.
But you can actually
up
fun, can't you? It's like getting
a
drunk.
Bing thing.
It's a Bing thing.
Yeah.
It's like...
But yeah, so
what we're saying is Bing is a little floppy cunt, to be quite honest.
And there's this other rabbit who's like not actually a rabbit. He's like a little toy rabbit, but for some reason he's the adult and he's called
Nobody
Flop.
knows what that thing is. Or
Oh,
what
the whole setup
relationship
is bizarre. Like, why is it that the adults are like small toys, but all?
I've got a theory.
Go on.
I'm not going to say it here. It's not appropriate.
Okay.
But I'll tell you after.
I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, so the point is, the game...
Have I told you my theory about Max and Ruby?
Wait, I'm going to do Max and Ruby.
Have you not seen Max and Ruby?
I haven't seen it. Can we just stick to Bing for 2 more minutes?
Right, okay, yeah, sorry, sure.
So basically the game is that you play as Flop, and it's just about basically not losing your fucking mind. Because to be fair... Right, as an adult watching it, I've realised that the whole point is I'm not supposed to be paying attention to Bing. I'm supposed to be paying attention to Flop and the example he sets as a parent. Because after all the stupid shit Bing does, Flop's just like, all right, mate, well, let's sort it out. He's totally reasonable throughout. So yeah, I reckon it's all about playing as him, and it's all just about keeping his sanity in check, basically, and not absolutely flipping out.
Depending on how Bing's fucked up that day.
Yeah. He's just the most infuriating.
Flop will remember that.
Yeah.
A puzzle game based on the Big Bang Theory, where you press a button to make the canned laughter kick in, and
he said Transformers! Quick, press it!
Yeah, you have to try and guess when the jokes make. Have you watched that show?
Unfortunately, yes.
I've seen one of those videos where they remove the laughter track and how like incredible that is, because it's like you can see
the funniest version of that is when they put Gervais's laugh in it instead. I would watch an entire episode and all the series if someone just put in Gervais's laugh. I've watched that video so many times with Gervais. Absolutely dying at the jokes. It's brilliant fun.
It's really bizarre because even like bad sitcoms, you could see, okay, they've made a joke there, and I can see why. I didn't find it funny, but they've made a joke there.
I don't really like Friends, but you don't have to be like, it's not hard to see why it's popular. Like, yeah,
it's easy. I like Friends, right? But when you watch Big Bang Theory, it is literally like, oh, and then Sharon knocks on the door, and I'm like, is that part?
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it. Like the joke that I don't know. It's just really, really jarring.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's just fucking bizarre. James?
I don't know. I can't think of anything now.
Brilliant. You've had half an hour. Matt?
I like as a simulator game where it's like TV program simulator where you're trying to run like live TV.
That's not an answer to the question.
Well, okay,
no, but it's a fucking good idea for a game, though, isn't it? It is a good idea for a game, though.
It is, to be fair.
Yeah, match of the day simulator. You got to deliver lines in the ears. You got to change cameras. You got to press play on these. Yeah, I'll be interested in that.
Okay,
cool. That's terrible. Cool.
It does.
Andy Palmer at Ramalaptar. on Twitter, have you ever considered a big joint stream? I would pay extremely good money to see you four
we get
play.
stoned.
Well, when I read it, I was like, it is illegal, but I'll need to find someone. But yeah, I'll be up for that.
Not for long.
I'll be up for that. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? We should do it. I would pay extremely good money to see the four of you guys play Overcooked together, though I fear it may irreparably damage James and Dave's relationships. Yeah, well, we would love to stream more together because we haven't really done it, and we did that. We did that. PUBG. Did we do a PUBG stream ages ago?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
I would love to do more of us all playing together, but it's just finding time.
It's finding the time. But we should set a night aside to do a 2-on-2 FIFA game. Although I don't think you can actually set that up.
Really?
I don't think that's possible. Yeah, no, it's a pain in the arse. But Overcooked we've been saying we'd do for years, but we haven't done it. Maybe we should.
So,
maybe we should.
But maybe as it comes to Christmas, maybe we'll deliver some Christmas treats.
Yeah, because we've already struggled to find time, so let's do it over the biggest period of our personal lives. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, how about Christmas Day? Do a 5-hour stream.
Yeah, no one's busy.
What are you doing on the 25th of December?
Nothing else planned.
I'm going away.
Oh yeah, you're off.
And that's it. That is it for tweets.
Cool.
Wicked. Next week, Matt. Death Stranding. It's happening.
I can't wait.
Are you pumped?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the reviews are out, and I am very interested to see what it's actually like. I've ordered it from Simply Games. I'm praying it gets here Thursday, but Friday at the very least.
Can I know the answer, but I want to ask it on the podcast. James, what do you think of the reaction to Death Stranding, the reviews?
I've been loving it. I think it's amazing.
Why? What have you been loving about it?
Just like how wound up people are getting about something they haven't even played yet. It's amazing. It's going to be brilliant.
Has it like, because I said to you guys this morning that the reaction has really started like kicking off that thing in my head where I'm going, maybe I do want to play this because I've had no interest in this at all up until this week, and suddenly I'm like, fuck, this is out on Friday. Maybe I do really want to play this just to see what side of the fence I fall on.
Discourse around it has been fascinating.
It's been crazy, isn't it? It's been crazy. So you've had people, but can you see what I'm saying? Like, because I'm not negative about the game yet because I've not played it, right? But the reviews do read like they are, as Limmy put, they're really struggling to say that they don't hate this game. That's how they read. There's no one going flat out, this is amazing and this is why. A lot of it is like, there was one, it was like, the opening 10 hours are a bit of a struggle and the last 10 hours are really quite a slog. It was like, fucking hell.
It's not really very fun. Like, the core mechanic's quite boring, but it's
it's crazy. I can't wait to hear what you think of this, Matt.
I can't wait to see what it's like, yeah. I mean, but, you know, the podcast this week about it has been really fascinating. We haven't really had a game, I can't remember the last game like this where so many people have agreed and disagreed, and has been quite...
Red Dead Redemption 2. So people have been mentioning that, but I think that was definitely up there.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 was 95%, everyone loved it. It's just other people which a much smaller potential people actually didn't like it. Whereas this, it feels like in the same conversation, the same podcast, there's like 5 people. Some have loved it, some have hated it, some don't get it, some totally get it.
I think the negativity around this game is really going to explode when the game comes out. Now, that's not to say it's going to be a bad game or that Matt won't enjoy it or anything. But I've just got a feeling that the people that really don't like it will be very vocal about not liking it.
Because
like
people
on a
saying,
scale
really
that we've not seen
It's still got
before.
like an 84 Metacritic. It's still got overall a very, very positive score. It's just that people
it's been very weird. All the reports like, polarizing review scores. It's like, what? Anything between like a 7 and a 10?
Yeah,
that's not,
exactly.
It's not polarizing, is it?
Like
That's
6.8 is
not
like the IGN outlier. The rest of all we 8s and 9s. And obviously
Edge flat out refused to review it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
But until then, do you want to get on with the socials?
Yeah, so streaming. James, are you streaming Night Trap on Friday?
No.
Well,
I haven't sorted it out yet. I've got to sort it out, and I haven't got around to it yet. But I will.
Okay. So, are you streaming on Friday or no stream on Friday?
It's unlikely. I need to sort it. I've got to sort out the Elgato.
quiet week on the streams then. All you have to do is plug it in, James.
It's more complicated than that, Sean. You know that. Right, I'll try.
I mean, James hasn't even plugged it in yet, Sean. So
okay.
Have you taken out the box yet?
It might happen on Friday, depending on if I get round to it. But
how did you get this Elgato?
I bought it second hand from CEX.
How much you pay for it?
About 50 quid, I think.
You haven't bothered unboxing it?
No, I've got it unboxed. I just haven't set it all up yet.
Well, okay, you got it out of the car.
Well, no, because it's no. The reason is
it came unboxed.
No,
it's like 50 quid.
No, the reason is it's because it's hassle on Macs. It's known to be hassle to try and sort it out, and I just haven't been bothered to do it yet.
Fair enough.
That's the main reason why.
So,
well, I might be streaming. I might be finishing Shenmue 2 this week.
Cool.
So I might be able to sneak in on a Friday, but my life's a mess, so I can never guarantee anything.
So Friday or Saturday, David. Is that fair to say, Dave?
Yeah, I'll aim for that.
Okay, well, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe David, and I'm doing Sekiro Sunday at 8:30.
Maybe David.
And then, and that's it, because Sean's taking a couple of weeks off, well-deserved break. So it's just Sekiro that's confirmed. Other streams may be appearing. Just follow us on Twitter at Computer Game Pod to see when we're streaming next. That's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You're not plugging our website or our...
I wanted to get in under 60 seconds, and
shop.
I think I was just approaching it.
Where have you got this 60 seconds thing from?
Because you kept bollocking him every week.
Yeah, but I never said that you have to keep it under 60 seconds,
That's
did
true,
I?
yeah.
I just played
Just
the horn.
don't go for like 5 minutes or whatever. It's like...
Yeah, there's a happy medium between 1 minute and 5.
No, I mean, it might be less than 60 seconds. I don't understand where the 60 seconds has
You've
come
definitely
from,
mentioned that in the past.
mentioned.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
fine.
patreon.com/TCGS for Patreon stuff if you want to support us any way you can. There's the Patreon pod that's exclusive just to Patreon every month. We did like a... We talked over... That's James away.
Dad.
I love the fact that you can hear him mute. Mid-cough. Should we wait until he's back?
Don't do that, please.
We will catch you next week. Thank you so much for living it, and have a great week. Enjoy Death Stranding. We'll catch you on the flip side. Goodbye, everyone. Get better, James. Get better.
Right.